Well, good evening, everyone. What's up? This is Harry the Big Dog with DJ Interview. And I want to thank everybody that's coming in to watch the replay. I want to thank everybody that's coming in from Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, and of course, Facebook. I want to thank everybody that hung in there with me, with us, for the whole 30 days of interviews. This is like a milestone right here, the finale. And we're going to get this thing going right now. I want to bring in our very special guest. He's going to wrap this whole thing up. GRANDMIXER DXT. What's up, kid? How you doing today?
What's good, my brother? How are you?
I am fine. How's everything out there in your neck of the woods?
Under the circumstances, it's okay. It would be absurd for me to say everything's good because it's not.
It's not.
No, not at all.
If you listen to the news enough, you really get depressed. And that's why we got this time here to get away from all of that for about an hour and a half or longer, depending on how long we go.
I'm not going anywhere, so we can just let it rip.
We gonna go to the internet gives.
Right. So one of us gives up, man. Let's just go for it. Just gun it.
Like the wife be gonna be knocking on the door like,
hey, listen.
I'm hungry.
Right.
So let's get this thing going. Let us know your name, where you're representing, and how did you get this itch for this DJ thing that turned into a storm, a thunderstorm for you?
I grew up in the Bronx, Northeast Bronx, Eden Wall Project to be exact. And I think that being from an entertainment family, my mother is a singer. I have aunts, uncles in the entertainment world. And just being around, my grandmother's a musician. And so I was, driven and directed, just through association with family members to take a liking to music and entertainment. And so growing up in Eden Wall was it was an experience, to say the least. There were DJs who started playing, somewhere around 75. I took notice, 75, 76, and they were called TNT Disco. And one guy was Tony O'Gara, and the other guy was a guy named Fat Tommy. And they were my introduction to that technology. Before that, we were just used to seeing live bands playing. Right. And we'd be in the big park and it'd be, showmobiles and, there's all kind of entertainment plays. And then we'd have the talent shows in PS 111 and, and I'm talking about nighttime talent shows.
Yes, taking me back. 111.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, and everybody would do dance routines. And so when I first saw, TNT Disco, I was impressed by the fact that now, instead of a band, they're playing loud music. They're playing a stereo outside and it's loud, And so that, that's how you see it first. I didn't know about the term DJ. I didn't know about any of this stuff. Mixer, none of that stuff. So I'm just looking at them saying, wow, they have this equipment where they can play, our house party records really loud.
Right.
And So I was impressed by that. Plus, I was a b-boy dancer, and
Mm-hmm.
so we wait for them to come out and set up the equipment so that we can go and dance to our favorite songs. Just Begun and these records, and then I started hearing about this guy Kool Herc. And so one day, me and James White, Shiny Sean, that was my crew, David Lee, we went to Webster Avenue, PAL. That's where we heard he was going to be there, so we went there.
Right.
And I was blown away. I was completely blown away because prior to going there, we would go to the Valley, and the Together Brothers was there, and that was the first time we really heard like monster sound systems
Right.
beyond TNT Disco. Pete DJ Jones would be out there, and the Together Brothers, Rocky Marcano, who is now at the Bronx Hip Hop Museum. He was out there with his gear, and I mean their sound system was very impressive.
Wow.
And so that gave me the idea, and I kind of doing it out of sequence here because because I had already started DJing when I saw Rocky and them. I was already DJing,
Right.
but yeah. But we wasn't playing and I didn't have no equipment like that. So three of us got together we went to school together. Two of my friends that I went to school with, we were all B-boys. And so we fashioned ourselves after TNT Disco. So TNT stood for Tony and Tommy. So it was three of us. So it was Derek, Chevin, and Timmy.
Right.
And so we called ourselves DST. For Derek, Chevin, and Timmy.
Right.
And we started doing house parties. Like we were toys. We didn't have none of that gear. We were making record button tapes, not pause button tapes.
Mm-hmm.
Record button tapes. And we would make these tapes and just, people like, you make me one of them tapes. Let me get one of them tapes. Because we were all musicians.
Right.
And so it was like I never ever thought to cut a record off beat or edit a record off beat because of my musicianship. And so that was just the fundamentals of editing music together for me. It was always about being on time. And so we started making these record button tapes that were precision cuts early. There was no such thing as a pause button yet.
Right.
And I can go into later on how do we manipulate the cassette decks to enable to do that. But we started making these tapes and we would play them, and they'd have all these edits, bam, 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 bam. And so we started doing all the house parties in Eden Wall and in the surrounding private homes and stuff like that. And what happened was, Fat Tommy and Tony O'Gara kind of separated. And so Tommy was doing his own thing, and he recruited Chevin and Timmy. I wanted to do my own thing.
Right.
I didn't want to play with that group of people. But Chevin and Timmy, those were my friends. And so, but I had an issue with Tommy. And I decided, you know what, I'm just not going to deal with him, And bless his heart, he's deceased now.
Wow.
But he
Rest in peace.
Yeah. And so I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing, And ironically, I used to hang out on Delancey Street, and I came back uptown with 3 Card Marley, and I was taking everybody's money in the lunchroom in Sousa. And on the basketball
Sousa,
court.
you taking me back.
Right. I was in Sousa at the time, 3 Card Marley in Sousa. And or Monty, some people say 3 Card Monty.
Uh-huh.
And so a friend of mine named Gary Van Carter started calling me D Street because they called me D for short. But I was hanging out on Delancey Street. And so he said, they started calling me Delancey Street because that's where I was always hanging out. So for short, it was D.ST. DST.
Yeah.
So DST stuck. It stayed because DST from Derek, Chevin, and Timmy became D Street. I just moved a period over. I took one period out between the S and the T. And so, yeah, I did my first. Can you hear me? I'm breaking up.
No, you sound good.
Okay. I did my first solo party for a girl named Jill Hollingsworth. And she had a brother named Jack and Jill. And I did a house party there. And just recently I had spoke to her about it. And she called me and she said, remember that time when you started playing them slow jams? My mother came downstairs and turned the lights on and said, nah, that ain't happening at this party. It was a Sweet 16. And
now, what year was this?
I think that was it 75 or 76? 75 or 76. And we did a Sweet 16. And that was my first solo party. And then after that, I went to go play in Edenwald Center. And the only other DJ who played there was Fat Tommy. And that's when it became an issue with him, because now I'm encroaching on his territory. And I didn't know that. I just love to play music. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that, if you play here, that means I can't play here that night. You know what I'm saying? Now, he's a much older guy, and he came in the center when the night I was setting up, and I had borrowed my cousin's guitar amp. I had this big amp, had my two stereo systems. I would just turn one up and turn one down. I tried to plug it into the stereo, into the amp, so the amp could play the bigger speakers. It was all, I didn't have no mixer. I was just turning one stereo up and one stereo down. And when I was with Chevin and Timmy, we had the realistic 4-channel mic mixer. That's how we were mixing. And
Radio
we have
specials.
Yeah, we didn't have no headphones. So we would set up in the back room, and it'd be like a library back there. We're listening to the records. And we would literally put our ear to the vinyl to hear and know where the break is. You could see it also. So visually and sounding, where you notice the high frequencies drop out, that means the drums is going, And so that's what we would do. So that day, he came in there and was like, man, let me borrow these records when this party is. Or when you're done, let me hold your records. I knew I'd never get them back. So I said, no, I'm not lending you my records, man. And it was just the whole bullying thing kicked in, like, yo, let me get those records. This is a grown man. I'm in junior high school. And I was like, man, I just want to play music. Something else occurred, but I ain't getting into all of that. But another guy came in there named Norman Bottom. And if anybody knows Norman, y'all already know what happened. But bless both of them. Those are my brothers. And that was part of the whole process of us growing up in that community in that way, and basically making us men.
Right.
And so I went to see Kool Herc, man, and that was it. It became official. That was something I wanted to do. And there was this one night that really, really struck me and really got the bug. It was the night that Kool Herc battled the Master Plan Bunch, DJ Smoke, which people don't even mention, and DJ Smokey, the Master Plan Bunch, the Smokatrons, the Luckatrons, Smokey, Lucky, and Rob the Gold. That was that crew. Ironically, years later, and I'll get to that, I actually hook up with Rob the Gold, not even realizing that he was that guy I saw when I first started going to Herc's parties.
Yep.
At that battle, and as a matter of fact, I'm not sure if I even saw him there, but I know he was part of that group. And so that was it. That was basically it, man. Once I saw that, and that night that Herc and Smokey battled, I knew for certain that even though I had already started, but that was a night that really said to me that there's no limit to what can happen at these events as far as entertainment and the records and and what happened that night. Smokey lost that battle. He got blown out the gym. But he said before the last thing he got to say, because if Herc didn't want you to be heard, you wouldn't be heard with his sound system. And so they allowed him to say, after this, I will be at, I think it was 169th and Grant and to the break of dawn. That's the first time I heard that term, to the break of dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to his block. And sure enough, he set his equipment up. He lived on the first floor. The entire building was abandoned. He plugged in the light pole outside. That's where he got his power from. I think that was his power just for his whole house. To have power in his apartment. He was getting it from the pole. And we stayed there until the sun came up, man. And it was an incredible experience because I never really hung out in that area. My aunt lived off Tremont Avenue, and I would always be right there. I never hung out going in and out of the blocks. And we were right on Grand Concourse, so I didn't go in between those houses where the buildings were abandoned and stuff like that. And I was younger then.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, we hung out. All the cars were abandoned, rusted out. We were just sitting on the cars, listening to Smokey. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna really get into this.
For everybody who don't know, he's talking about the Bronx. let me give you a couple of shout outs. We got DJ Cam checking in.
Cam.
Oh, Cam.
What's good, Cam?
We got DJ Clientele checking in. We got DJ CJ checking in. We got Chris Gloss checking in. Hold on. We have the international DJ Tommy Lee. I have to do it like that.
Once you say international, I know who that is.
Oh, we have Nubia checking in.
007 of DJs, man.
We got DJ P Nice checking in.
P Nice.
We got Monique checking in. We got DJ Howie D checking in. Oh man, so now you're at this stage. It's 75, 76.
Right.
Where are you from then to like the early 80s, 81, 82?
Well, again, once I realized the DST, Derek and Chevin and Timmy, was not going to happen. Chevin and Timmy went with Tommy. And I decided, and then I started hearing about the Brothers Disco, which came on. And I thought about seeing if I can join that crew. And then I heard that some of these people that I didn't want to really associate with was part of that organization. And I decided it would be best for me just not to deal with that. So I had been going to parties up in Westchester, and they only played disco. And I would sit there like bored to death, just saying, man, if they only play some beats, And then there was this crew up there. There was a bunch of crews up there. And that's one of the untold stories. There were groups up there. They just didn't play hip hop yet. What we're calling hip hop. They didn't play that yet. And so Playboy Snapper, Chico, Dr. Greg, but the group and Rob the Gold was up there, but I didn't know yet. The group that I was most interested in was a group called the legendary Collins Brothers, because they were young like me.
Right. And
so, and my cousin Todd, he would take me to all of these parties up there, New Rochelle. And I said, man, this is, virgin territory here. Like there's no hip hop here. And so I went up to, Collins Brothers was playing, I think in 4th Street Park or 8th Street Park. And this was 76, spring, I think, of 76. And I went over to them and I had records. You know, I had seen them play a week before at the Boys Club. They were battling Rob the Gold. And it was all disco. And they all had big sound systems. Collins Brothers had a monster sound system. So I went up I said, hey man, I'm a DJ, you know, and can I play these records? And I got on. And I think I played the record. One break went by and they came over and were like, yo, get off.
This ain't this type of party.
Yo, what are you playing? Like, yo, dude, get off the turntables. Like, you killing us right now with that. And I was like, oh, so I think I cut it once, man. And I think it was Family Again. Zackety zap, man, rat tat tat, bend to that, and they were like, yo, take that shit off, you know. And so anyway, so I took it off. They gave me my records. I had a whole loose leaf thick, and I only played one. And so I went and just stood to the sideline, and the brother came up to me and he said, yo, man, they don't play that up here, man. But I'm doing a party next week, and you could play those records with me. That was Rob the Gold.
Wow.
From the Master Plan bunch. And I did not recognize him from there. And so I said, yeah, okay, cool. I'll come up there and I'll come back up here and play. So he invited me to where he practiced. And I went up there and I looked through his crates and I started seeing these names. I started seeing this one name, DJ Smoke, on his vinyl. And I said, DJ Smoke. Then I saw Smokey. And I was like, yo, dude, these are DJ Smoke, like from the Bronx? He said, yeah. I said, yo, you stole his records? That's what I said. I said, well, how'd you get these records? You stole his, because like back then it's sacred, man. Like, how the hell do you have DJ Smoke's records? So I just assumed he stole them, right? So I said, well, how'd you get his records? He said, no, that's my brother. That's my brother. We live together. Oh. And he went into the military and left me with all the equipment and the records. And then I was like, for real? He said, yeah. And I told him, I said, dude, that's one of my heroes. It's one of the reasons why I want to DJ Smokey. Even though it was the night he got blown out the building.
Right.
He still became a hero for me because of what he did. And he's one of the people that made me absolutely certain that that's what I want to do, you know, like full time, not just what we've been doing, just the, you know, playing. Because I'm a musician and I could easily went and pursued a career as a drummer.
Correct.
You know, and so I put my drumsticks down for a minute, you know, and said, let me jump in this thing and see what I can do. And so hence, Smokey, Rob was also a big fan of Herc's also. So his crew was called the Baby Herculoids. And I was against that because, you know, biting was not something we did. I was like, yo, dude, come on, man, the Baby Herculoids. He said, yeah, man, we got Herculoids. Yeah, he's biting Herc. You know?
Oh, man.
Yeah, but he said baby. So he was like, yo, he's giving props to Herc and Kent and Timmy, you know, and Coke. And so he was like, yeah, man, we the Baby Herculoids. And I was like, so he was the OG, man. So I had to roll with it. And so we started doing these parties. I came back up to Edenwald because there was other people who I thought, you know, were interested. I knew Timmy was, and Chevin was with Tommy. As a matter of fact, Chevin and Tommy got into a big brawl and they broke up. He broke up with them. So Chevin went about his business. There was a young girl named Baby T, Kathy Brooks. And I said, I'm doing parties up in Mount Vernon. So I snatched her up there with me. And so Rob, and where he was staying, there was a brother named Dennis, City Boy. We called him City Boy. And Dennis Pettiford. And the four of us became the Baby Herculoids. And we had two other people part of our crew, Baby Ace, which was Jaheim's sister. She
Okay.
she became the second MC. Bingo Rock and Dice. That was our crew, and we were the Baby Herculoids, and we started playing beats in Westchester, and we were met with serious opposition, But certain places like New Rochelle, they seemed to embrace it. As soon as we did it, they were like, "Wow, that was awesome! The record y'all were playing." Certain places we went. I remember outdoors they embraced it, but when the first time we started playing those records in the Remington Boys Club, some of the thug dudes would come up to the ropes and like, "Yo, man, what you playing, man? Like, take that off." And like, people don't understand, like, this the whole hip hop thing in the beginning, like, you were carrying a flag, marching into communities going, "We're changing what you listen to." And we really wasn't. It just appeared that way. What we were doing was playing our parents' record collection with some new records, and it was a very interesting experience to once, as you get older and you look back at that and see some of the resistance. There was several other things people resisted. You play in a neighborhood. After a while, the girls start talking about the guys that come to the neighborhood, not the guys from the neighborhood. And then you get that friction going. So all of those things was the chemistry of the tension, the love, all of that. It was all in there. It was all in that melting pot of what we're now calling hip hop culture. But that was my experience in the early days. Through avoidance of uncontrollable negativity,
Mm-hmm.
and the desire to express myself through my music is how I balanced myself to walk that tightrope from one community to the next, saying, "I love this music and maybe you should hear it. As a matter of fact, you don't have no choice because I'm putting it on." You know what I'm saying? And so that's what that was.
Now we lived in Edenwald, which is in the Bronx, everybody.
Right.
And one thing I didn't know is we lived in the hood. The Edenwald was marked like one of the baddest projects ever.
Absolutely. It had its glory and it's had its sadness,
Mm.
I lost a lot of friends there, including my own brother. And so
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
And I take it with the understanding that all of us are in this condition that we don't think about in real time.
Right.
We only can reflect as we mature on the things we did around each other, things that we did to our neighbors, as brothers and sisters in these communities where we are totally oppressed. And so the whole hip hop, the whole DJ thing was one of the easiest ways to free yourself for that moment, of the insanity, the systematic, organized insanity that we dealt with, trying to enjoy life with what we understand as what it is to live, in those conditions. We didn't see anything else. And so we only are dealing with what we know. And that's what it was.
Yeah, we got a message from Dave. He's saying he read a Life magazine article a long time ago that DST back then brought hip hop to Europe.
I was on that very first hip hop world tour, and so I guess so. I'm one of the cats that you know, carried the banner
Mm-hmm.
on the plane. We actually took the English Channel to London. It was the worst experience I ever had in my life.
The tube.
It was a violent storm, and that was the first time I ever went on like in an open sea with 50-foot waves, man.
Mm.
And I don't even want to tell you what happened to me, man. It was like a scene in that movie Trading Places when Dan Aykroyd, when it really hit the fan for him, and the car splashed him. He got out, it started raining. That basically happened to me, and it was the same scene where it was like
a wet puppy.
Yeah, I went outside because I felt seasick, so I went outside in case I had to puke, and a wave knocked the mist up in the air from the front of the boat. So I'm looking at it, okay, it's just mist. Man, it hit me like somebody threw 10 gallons of water at me.
Mm.
I had on remember the leather bombers with the fur?
Coat messed up.
Yeah, the coat, it just instantly turned into like 150 more pounds. And by the time the tour was over, it was ruined. Like I had on a bell-bottom coat. It turned into a bell-bottom. I had to go buy another coat, man.
Oh, man.
The leather widened out at the bottom because it was holding all the water.
Mm.
So
now, what year is this that you took rap back then out there?
First of all, it wasn't just me. Fab Five Freddy, Dondi, Futura 2000, Red Mel Z, the Double Dutch, McDonald's Double Dutch team, Lady Blue, and my crew, the Infinity Rappers, Kingpin Shaheem and Godfather KC Rock, and Rocksteady crew and Africa Bambaataa.
Wow!
And so that was the
lineup back in the day.
Yeah, that was a serious lineup, and it was a great experience for all of us. And again, we planted the flag in Europe, Germany, London. Germany was interesting because we, the whole racist thing, it was live and well when we got there, and I think we were in Strasbourg, Germany, and bottles started flying on stage while the Double Dutch girls were doing their thing.
Wow.
And I flipped out. I just flipped out, man. What happened was,
and you were a long way from home too.
Yeah, but when it was the women, they decided to throw the bottles at women.
Oh.
And so for me, that was completely unacceptable. So, because a couple of bottles had already, broke on the stage and stuff. And so they came off. Bottles are still coming up on stage. And I go to jump off the stage. And when I got on the ground, I noticed I cut my hand. So I took a bottle, and I'm not proud of it because I flipped out. I broke it, and I just went at him. Okay. There's no way we're leaving here. So
yeah.
It ain't like we could take a cab to the 5 train. We're in
Like I
Strasbourg,
said,
Germany, and they
home.
coming at us. They coming at us hard. And so fortunately, some of the brothers jumped off with me, and I wasn't the only person that went to the hospital. That's how I'll leave it. And when we got there, the police came to arrest us, and some of the people there were saying, "Hey, man, they defended themselves," because I was just defending us. I wasn't going after nobody to try to prove anything. I just realized that these dudes are really attacking us. Like this is like we came here to perform for them, and they want to beat us into the ground. They literally trying to hurt us. They throwing bottles and shit. So
Tommy Lee said the Edom Wall came out.
Yeah, the AMP food. You know,
Oh,
yeah, and
yo,
Eden Wall came out. You know,
that is crazy.
yeah. So I, I
Now, how did this all happen with the Europe thing? I know we didn't skip the story,
yeah,
but
we
you
skipped
know,
from
from '81,
Smokey to
'81,
Mount Vernon
yeah,
to yeah. Well, in between that, I started DJing. The whole MC group thing started. I I kept the Baby T, and me and Rob, we split ways, and we remained friends, but we just split ways. Dennis started the CB crew, and this is still early, man. There's no rap groups yet. The CB crew is just starting when the rap groups start. Um, the our rivals became the Collins brothers, which was one of those rivals of respect because
yeah.
we kept each other on their toes. I remember the day when I heard they had this new MC and his name was Papa Do Jam. Like that blew me away. You know, I was like, "Whoa, they got this guy down with him. His name is Papa Do Jam."
Papa Do Jam,
Like, yo, you know, for me that was a problem.
like
You
a
know,
movie name.
yeah, and he was good, you know, and they had Wayne Will and Slice. I think one of Red Alert's brothers was one of their MCs too. But this is when all the MC groups were starting at that time. As a matter of fact, I left this out so we can go back to it. When the groups were starting, I was in Truman High School.
Okay.
And I had met some of the young guys there, you know, because I didn't really go. I just ride my bike down. I couldn't stand going there. So I was actually enrolled in the school, but I was literally rolling around the school on a bike. And so the days that I would go in and go to class and stuff, you know, people was in the hallway snapping their fingers trying to rhyme. Oh, and some were rhyming. And so I was listening to some of them. And then I met these guys. I met a guy named Shaheem, and I met another guy named Raheem, and a guy named Jake. I remember some of their names. And so they seemed to be interested in the whole hip hop thing. So I gravitated towards them to see what they were up to. And they showed some early stages of MC skills. And I said, you know what? If I can get these guys in my group, I will have a better chance of battling some of these other groups that have really good MCs. These guys are good. Now we already see Mel. Mel was like the best, you know. Creole was one of the best in his prime. And so there is no Cold Crush. There's none of that yet. And so then Breakout Brothers Disco had KK Rockwell. And so now we had Baby T when we were up in Mount Vernon, so we wasn't in the Bronx.
Right.
So I was trying to recruit. Everybody in our crew was from the Bronx, with the exception of Bingo and Dice. Baby Ace was from the Bronx. She lived right near Breakout, which is strange because Baby T's from Eden Wall. Baby Ace was right up on the East Chester, 222nd. In those private houses. And so everybody was trying to find MCs. So I figured I got these two guys. I'm going to try to recruit them. So I invited them up to some of my practices. The Jones Brothers is where some of the times I would go up to. They lived on Edison. I think it was Edison, behind up Baychester, Edson Avenue.
Edson, yeah.
And my brother, Jesse Jones, that's my brother. And Travis, JJ, Ricky, Lorenzo,
Yeah.
those are my brothers. And so they were doing their thing. And so I went up there and they would let me, get on the set and practice with them because they had equipment. I never really had equipment. I didn't have nothing. I would just play on other people's systems.
Wow.
I just had records. I had records.
We all thought you was bored with turntables.
Nah. I used the turntables that was in my mother's turntable, and to make my record button tapes. And as far as a mixer, I didn't know none of that stuff until until I formed the Infinity Squad after the Baby Herculoids. But the Baby Herculoids became the Infinity Squad. So Rob, me, Dennis, and Rob, and Baby T, and then we got two other MCs, Half Pint, and I forgot the other brother's name for the moment. They'll come back to me. Not Rob Ski, but so we formed the Infinity Squad, and we did about 3 or 4 parties. And while I had already met Shaheem and Raheem, and so I was inviting them up, to practice, and they came to a couple. And so now I'm saying to them, hey man, look, I got this party going on in Mount Vernon. I don't play in the Bronx, but I'm saying at the same time all this stuff is starting, it's in Mount Vernon, and most people don't know this. And so I'm telling him, come on up there. So Shaheem said, cool, all right, And so I had put him on a couple of flyers, and he ain't show up, So I come back to school and, dude. So the next week, he ain't show up. So I spazzed out on him. Like, yo, dude, like, I'm putting you on flyers, man, and you ain't showing up. And he's like, all right, I'm going to show up. So finally, he shows up. We do the Remington Boys Club. And it was Shaheem, Baby T, and Al B. Remember Al B from Edenwald?
Vaguely.
Al B. Well, Al B was an MC. Al B. When people hear that name, they know Al B.
Yeah.
Al B was one of my MCs. And so it was Al B, Shaheem, and Baby T. And then Al B disappeared. So I got Half Pint. That's how that happened. And man, I was going through MCs, man. Anyway. All of a sudden, so I'm saying, okay, let me get Raheem. Let me get Raheem now. So I'm getting ready to. So all of a sudden, I hear Raheem is going to audition for the Brothers Disco. And I'm like, oh, man. Because I really thought I still think he's one of the best. And I was really disappointed about it. But because I was like, man, I had Raheem and Shaheem. That would be bananas.
For real.
And so I go to the audition just to support him, just for support. They wouldn't let me in because that's when I was a knucklehead, and they remembered me from a few weeks ago, fighting in the center.
Edenwald came out again, right?
Yeah. I had an Edenwald flashback, and for me, it was never good to do that because I'm really allergic to police. I'm extremely allergic to the police because whenever I'm around them, I break out in handcuffs. And so I decided, let me stay. It's true. I don't know why, but it just happens that way. And so he did his thing. And at that point, he became one of the members of the Funky Four. And, I was just happy for him that, he got in a group, and, I kept going with my thing, and I was still changing people. So now Mike Nice came, MC Kimba came, Baby T left, MC Kimba, and then that was the Infinity Four. And so.
You was going through MCs like, man.
Yeah, I had 4 MCs, and then I went back to 3. And then then Kimba came, and I had 4 again. And, it was just the beginning phases of that, because everyone was doing basic rhymes. No one was really that skillful, except Shaheem. Something about his writing ability was, he was on another level, like how his brain functions when it comes to the English language. He showed early signs of being a wordsmith, as they call him now, and his way of writing, I thought was beyond anyone I heard. And as great as I thought Melly Mel was, as great as I thought Raheem was like Marvin Gaye of MCs. He had a swagger to him. He was like Frank Sinatra. You
Mm,
know, he had this whole persona. He had the full persona of a performance artist on stage, and I thought that was amazing. That it was just in him. He just did it that way.
right.
Shaheem had a lyrical skill that to this day you won't find many people that can write the way he writes.
Mm,
Um, he wrote a rhyme about smoking crack, sitting in a room, noon till noon, looking like you just stepped out of a tomb, stone, the pipes grown from your lips sewn. It's like, yo, I was like, dude, did you hear what I just said?
yeah.
And it's like, dude, that's bananas how you think like that. From
Yo.
your lips sewn together, you and whoever, conversing, cursing, thinking you're alert and clever, but you're not. Your mind's blocked. Opportunity knocks. You'll cop from any corner.
Uh,
And I'm like, yo, this dude is banana. And that's that, like today, like you put all of the best MC lyricists, put them in a room with him, and they will all acknowledge his skill and he was writing like that when we were in high school.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
DJ Cam, yes, he's talking about that Raheem from the Furious Five.
No, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking
No,
about. Oh no, yeah. When I'm talking about Raheem, yes, Raheem. When
Raheem,
Raheem went to,
not
I'm
Shah.
talking about as far as writing, it was
Yeah,
Shaheem.
yeah.
Shaheem is to this day, he's one of the best lyric rhyme writers I've ever heard. His
Wow.
skill is just really exceptionally good.
So now, what year are we in now?
With this whole thing happening, this is 78. That's 78 when the MC groups started in I think it was 78 when most of the groups formed their four. When they formed their four, most of the groups formed their four. When 78 came, the Valley Park was one of the main outdoor spots to be for any real hip hop group, any real hip hop artist or crew that was doing parties. The place to be was the Valley Park, and
Yeah.
it was just an awesome thing to do. But it was 78.
Okay. So we're getting into the early '80s now.
Right.
Where are you now?
Early 80s, I'm playing everywhere, mostly Westchester, White Plains. That was my territory.
Right.
Everybody had a territory, and I wanted to be the Cool Herc. I wanted to be that guy. And in our crew, not just me, my whole crew. This is where we wanted to, raise the bar, so to speak. And so we approached, our performances. We approached it on a whole different way of performing. We looked at it like, look, the first thing we saw that I took note of is the Funky Four. I think it was Breakout's brother,
Okay.
Darnell. The way he set them up was more of a performance group. And so, yeah, it's not just rhyming on stage, just with a microphone. Put a performance to it, set it up like a performance.
Hmm.
And so we got the 4 mic stands, and because we all play in bands anyway, so why are we drifting away from playing in like any other group just because we only have turntables up there? So yeah, that was the right thing to do. And so we went and got the mic stands and set it up, but we added certain things, like we had lights. For each MC had their own light, their own theme. And so when they was on, there were floor lights. They would change to represent each MC. And that we came into the Bronx to the PAL with that, and they never seen that before, you know. And that's a whole nother story of where some of these beats came from. Like people don't know that. They don't know what areas, what DJs had some of the most profound impact on what you're seeing today.
Right.
That's a for another interview.
Part 10.
Part 10, yeah. We're going to talk about Kool-Aid, the beat master. You know, how many people know that name, Kool-Aid, the master of beats? You know, and a lot of records that you hear that everybody had in their collection and sampling today, that brother right there was one of the main cats who found those records. You know, and he was part of my crew. And we spent a lot of time at the Downstairs Records with the staff there, mainly Elroy at the Downstairs Records. And so, yeah, I'm in Westchester, Yonkers. I didn't play a lot in Yonkers, but I'd be up there every once in a while. But it was really New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, White Plains, Port Chester. And then we somehow ended up in Stamford, Connecticut. And we just kept going. But all of that was our area. And keep this in mind, this is simultaneous to what was going on in the Bronx. It's not after, you know what I'm saying? Didn't happen after. And for most of this, I mean, until the 80s, when the rap records started coming out, most of us started slowing down on because the entertainment process of it began to change, because now you had to have a record to get on stage, that these things started happening. Some of the DJs started solely focusing on producing records and all of that stuff. But we kept going until my group fell apart. And it was a lack of understanding of not just professionalism, but goals, setting goals as a group, because we were all young. We didn't understand the business aspect of it. No one approached us with any business anyway. We're still just doing parties. And so I'm from a family and a group of people that this is all we did was entertainment. So I tried my best to explain to my group members my understanding of why it's important to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, practice. And maybe at the time I was too young to understand how to teach. And so in that process of me trying to explain to them what to do, I may have frustrated them at the same time. And so, because they used to say, man, you want to practice all the time, but it's my work of what I've done is because I would practice all the time.
Right.
Me innovating what we call turntablism now is because I practiced all the time. And in that practice, I would make mistakes. And some of those mistakes were beautiful. You see what I'm saying? And so I grew from the things that I consciously created and the things that I subconsciously created, and just plain out mistakes that I reworked into what we see today. Once my group fell apart, I went through an undecided factor in my life, because I spent a lot of my time in and out of my house, and I had decided to join the military at one time. And
go Army.
Yeah, I took that test and I passed that one. And then I took the Marine test and I passed that. But I wanted to be a Marine. I had this crazy idea. It's part of just the social conditioning of warfare that we go through as children. I wanted to go to Vietnam, and so that was in my head. Like I'd like to go fight because I was conditioned, and all these war films and all these documentaries on it, and I thought about that, and then one day I went, nah. I think I'll be okay. I took off. I took off maybe a year. I didn't DJ at all.
Let me ask you this: was there ever a point you wanted to quit DJing?
I thought about going back to just playing drums. See, music is me. I would never stop playing music.
Right.
And so I took off for a minute, and I was playing my drums, and I didn't play in any bands. I didn't sit in with anybody. Whenever I'd get around a drum set, I'd sit there and play, beat my set until it was garbage. I couldn't even play it no more. I didn't have the money to replace any of the parts and stuff. So now I'm just looking at drum parts and stuff. And so I decided to just hover around and play wherever I can. I no longer had a group, and I try to stay in touch with some of the MCs and stuff here and there. But I started playing at different places in the Bronx with different DJs. I went up to Connecticut, and I met a brother named Terrible T, DJ Terrible T. And I started doing parties with him. And, well, I'm sorry, that's out of sequence. My MCs, I still have my MCs when I started working with Terrible T. But right after the whole Connecticut thing, that's when it all came apart. And so I just became a DJ, just freelance, no crew, no nothing. And I would practice all the time. So all I would do is practice. And then it was, I think it was an anniversary or a Zulu Nation anniversary, Bronx River. And I went there, and I had this thing that I would do where I would play a synthesizer and DJ at the same time.
Right.
And so I would play, this is rap records now. So Heartbeat, Treacherous 3, Kumo D, Special K, LA Sunshine. And I would put this record on, cut it, and then play all of the hit melodies, the melodies of every hit record that's out at the time. I would have it committed to memory, and I play all the lead lines. And it amazed people that I would do that, because I was trying to still be as unique as possible. I thought Flash and the beatbox was one of the most incredible things I've seen. Man. And I, and give props to Flash, because Flash is one of the reasons why I approached the turntable that way. That was inspired by Grandmaster Flash, because when I would go and watch Flash, he always appeared to be very upset with his turntables. He just had this whole persona where he was like, and don't let the record skip. How dare you skip? He was, and it taught me to pay closer attention to my mixer and my turntables. I give that to Grandmaster Flash, because that's what inspired watching him, and watching how intense he made it seem to do what he was doing. He made it look like work, and I went back and I said, man, this guy is seriously focusing on what he's doing, to the point where he's like, I'm not playing with y'all. Y'all better be on beat and on time. And so that was one of the things that inspired me to take the approach that I took. And in that approach, I would develop something unique. And so hats off and props to Grandmaster Flash for.
So this whole time you're still DST.
I'm still DST. And I I uh, I do this thing at the Bronx River, and then these people who just so happened to be there that day visiting. One was Tom Silverman, and the other was a lady named Blue, Cool Lady Blue. And they came up to me and I was like, wow, that was amazing. And we're doing this thing downtown called at the Grill. And she said, I'd love for you to come down and play the synthesizer and do that. She did not know I was a DJ because when I got on, I just played that one record and did that.
Right.
And so I went down there to the Grill. And I think the flyer was Phase 2 made the flyer. Bless that brother. It was myself, the Rocksteady crew, and I met them that night the first time, and Bam and Jazzy.
Okay.
My brother Jazzy J. And I get down there, and I'm setting up. And then all of a sudden I see firemen with the fire uniforms on and the big helmet and the whole nine on the dance floor. And I'm like, okay, all right. And the next thing you know, they come up to the booth and say, yo, we're shutting this down. Like my opening night for me, and nothing.
Wow.
I never played at the Grill. I played one record. I played one record in
There was too many people in there. That's why they came and shut it down.
They came and said, I don't know. And we were just setting up. That's another thing. It wasn't enough people in there yet for them to even do that, and they came and shut it down. And so, a week or so went by and she called me and she said, okay, we got Danceteria. And so we started playing, I would think, what was that, 23rd Street, somewhere around there? Danceteria was multiple floors, and there was different themes on each floor. So the hip hop floor, we were on that floor. And we did that for about a month or two. And then that ended and we went on this hiatus. At the time, I lived on 19th Street. Well, my girlfriend lived there, and I lived there, but her mother didn't know. Yeah, and so they would go roller skating at this place called the Roxy's or the Roxy, and so I went there with them, and I'm looking at that, and I'm going, wow. Huge place, and the music and they had the Richard Lawn sound system, so it's Studio 54 with roller skates. And so I'm sitting there going, wow. So I tell Blue about it, and she goes and checks in, and she calls me and she says, hey, we're going to be able to do something there. And that was the beginning of the Roxy's. Wow. And so the opening night, we go in, and we didn't get it together yet. We realized we had to build a stage. So they came in and built this little platform, and we took half of the rink and we put a curtain behind us. And we did that for several weeks, several months. It went very well. And it became the celebrity hangout. And that's where this whole tour thing comes about. Because it was in there where all of the celebrities started showing up in there. And it now became the new celebrity hangout. They had this giant glass wall that had like steps, like a balcony, but it started on the ground floor. You go up like one flight, and then there's this whole VIP section that you couldn't get in there. It was glass. You had to get through security, but you can see it, all the celebrities in there. And so it became the place to be. And people were approaching me, offering me all kind of stuff. And stuff that I won't even repeat.
What year are we talking now?
We're talking 80, 81, 82. And I'm saying 81, 82 because I can't. I'd have to look at my flyers and stuff be certain of it, but closer to 82, the summer of 81, going into 82. And so subsequently, I become the #1 DJ in New York City because of this set. And I'm seeing all these flyers. I see the Village Voice #1, and I'm like, how do you become #1? I still don't even know. Man, later for all that number stuff. I'm just playing, and that's my attitude today. But they're like, yo, he's #1 DJ. And so I'm seeing it on all the posters and everything. And it was interesting because I was playing everything from Beethoven to Bob Marley. And that's what hip hop really is, And so, and then Africa Islam joined the team. And so we were up there together, and that brother knows music, and so he would get on and just murder it, just kill it with it, and check out what we would do. He didn't do a set. We would our flow was so crazy that he'd play a record, and then I'd come on and play a record, and then he'd come on and play a record. I kid you not. That's what we were doing.
Oh man, that was way back in the day.
Yeah, it was crazy. He would play like a record or two, and then I'd come, yo, check this out and play it. And we never even said anything about it because it was so dope that it was just bananas, man. And that's when I was approached by I think Barry Mayo was one of the first people. I wish I had a contact. I'm trying to contact him now because he's part of that history of the beginning of all of that. And then another gentleman approached me. His name was Bernard Zekri. He was North African from Tunisia. And he said, hello, DST. Pleasure to meet you. And he spoke French.
Oh, okay.
And he said they were putting together this record company here called Celluloid. And they're interested in doing a tour. And they wanted me to be part of this tour. And they're going to take hip hop to Paris, London, Germany, and all of this stuff. And I said, I have to ask my mother. Back then, I said, man, I got to ask my mother.
A little bit too young.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I got to ask my mother. Let me talk to my mother about this. Like 3,000. First, it was just playing at a club called Bandouche. And they were paying me more money than I ever heard anybody with any kind of job getting paid. And so, I said, let me go ask my mother. And then we kept playing. And unfortunately for me, I started thinking more business wise. I knew that this was fun and all of these celebrities, and I became somewhat of a celebrity myself in the downtown hip, DJ scene.
Yeah.
And I never thought about being a celebrity. That's not something I desired to do. I just love what I do. I'm an artist. And so that comes with it, but I never pursued that.
Right.
And so I tend to shun away from it. And so after a while, I met the guy who owned the record label, Jean Caracos, and then they started talking about making records. And I said, okay, sure. They offered me a record deal. They introduced me to another gentleman named Bill Laswell. And they said, well, he's going to sign with us too. And we're going to put together this group of musicians and start producing these records. And I had never produced a record in my life. And, I just been around musicians, and I played in bands my whole life.
Right.
So I understood how to make records, but I did not understand how to apply my understanding technically once I walked in that room. So I'm sitting there just in the studio looking at all this stuff. I have no clue of what I'm looking at. I know that's a mixer, a giant mixer. It's a giant tape machine. But I
asked, did they have the tape machines?
Yeah, the 2-inch. And matter of fact, we were working on a 16-track 2-inch.
Wow.
And so that was my school. I started studying, 82 is when I started learning how to actually physically make records and
Mm.
produce records. And being around Bill, who was a producer already at the time, so around professionals, I was able to um, ask a million questions and go home and listen to my stereo, because the only fader I had on my stereo was a knob. You're right. And so I'm just thinking about it. I did a lot of thinking. And then over time, I developed the skill of mixing and stuff like that. And so what happened with that was, in that conversation of working with Bill Laswell, the name Herbie Hancock comes up. And one of the nights that we're at the Roxy's, they bring Herbie's manager, Tony Mylant, to the Roxy's.
Okay.
And it's like, dude, you see this guy? This is next level. This is what's coming. And so he goes back to Herbie, he explains it to him. And they said, well, let's do some demos. And so we submitted, I think, 4 or 5 songs. And the next thing I know, we get a call back. Yep, they liked what you guys did. Like Bill told me, so we did the whole album. And think about it. This is the beginning for me of going in studios and all of this. The very first major production I get to work on is the Future Shock album with Herbie, Bill, Michael Beinhorn, Daniel Ponce, Bernard Fowler. And that was pretty much the whole team. Bob Musso, engineer. And while I'm doing that, we're discussing the tour. This whole hip hop tour with the Double Dutch Girls and all of that. All of that happened at the same time. And so we start putting this tour together, and I think the Fearless 4 was going to go. The Fearless 4 was actually slated to go. And not because I didn't want them to go, and it would have been awesome, but they only had enough, I guess, money or tickets sort of set up for one group. And they didn't think about, they wanted my MCs. I was like, dude, I got MCs, even though I hadn't worked with them. Like, we had all disbanded. And I said, but I'm going to DJ. If you need MCs, I got my MCs. And so they said, oh, that's right. Yeah. So it's MC, and they know my routines. We know routines. We know, we got all this stuff so we can do a show. And they didn't tell me, but they went and cut the Fearless 4 out of the show.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't say nothing. They just said, "Oh, okay, so we'll go with your MCs instead." And I didn't know they were going to do that. I thought they were going to just say, "Okay, we'll rock out with them." And the Fearless 4 is on the poster and everything. And then so in the Infinity Rappers, because now it's not the Infinity 4 MCs, it's just KC and Shaheem. So the Infinity Rappers end up doing the tour instead of the Fearless 4. Which was, I felt bad because I didn't know they were going to do that.
Wow.
And I would have loved to have gone
history.
Huh?
Everybody, this is some history you guys are listening to. If you have questions for DXT, well, he's still DST right now. If you have questions for him, put it in a comment and we'll get to them. Oh, wow. So this is around 83-ish.
82.
You're now DST, the producer.
Yeah, now one of the first records I worked on is the Future Shock album. And then we did the 5 celluloid records, which Changed the Beat, Roxy, GRANDMIXER Cuts It Up, Futura 2000. And I'm playing at this club in Paris called the Bandouche on the weekends. So my life completely changed, because now I'm literally getting on a plane and flying to another country to DJ in a club.
Wow.
For the weekend, and then fly back. And I was like, okay. And that was also a new experience. That wasn't common at the time, to go around and do sets.
Right.
And let me put that in the right context. That happens right after Rocket breaks. That's not before Rocket. That's after Rocket when I started going around because people wanted to see this whole Rocket turntable thing.
Yeah.
And so I go to California. I'm in LA for a few months. Well, I finished all my parts on the Future Shock record. We're Beat It. In fact, Beat It is Michael Jackson's Thriller album is huge. And I'm going to LA and I bring Kaz, Grandmaster Kaz, who by the way was in my 3rd grade class. And so I bring him. This is the very first time he gets on a plane in his life.
Wow.
And he's terrified. And every time the plane turns, he grabs the thing, and I'm like, dude, none of that shit matters if the plane crashes, man. So,
matter what you grab or anything.
Yeah, just enjoy the ride, bro. And he got used to it though. But I brought him out to LA, and that was his first time in California.
Mm.
And he stayed we had a Celluloid, we had an apartment there with one of the associates of Celluloid Records. And so we all stayed there. And so we got the call to go and beat. They knew we were there. They was like, yo, we want, the Bronx look. We want y'all in this video, Michael Jackson video.
Mm.
Beat It. And we're like, are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
And so me and Kaz go, and we go buy these green sweatsuits.
I hope it was Adidas.
Nah, they were generic, man. They were Foreman Mills sweatsuits, bro.
just plain green.
It was just straight up Foreman Mills. So, they would. Hey, look, man, they worked. We had the rabbit tails, all that Cold Crush and Furious 5 stuff on on sweatsuits, man. And yo,
that's funny.
The driver didn't show up, man, and they shot the video without us.
They probably see what type of suits y'all had.
I'm thinking maybe they saw our outfits, man. But we were all ready, man, to go to be in Michael Jackson's video, man. It was crazy, man. Me and Kaz, man. That's true story. True story.
That's funny.
And they got there too late, man. And they shot it without us. So, and then the next day we flew to San Francisco. It was a strange trip, man. Mm. We flew to San Francisco, and he got his nails in. And we get there, man, and we cross in the street. We run into the Soul Sonic Force. I think it was in the street. We doing the same show, and we get there and we jaywalk, man, and we all get arrested for jaywalking, like literally against the wall, hands up.
Yo,
I was like, are y'all seriously doing this to us for jaywalking? I didn't know they were serious about jaywalking out there. And then I'm gonna tell you another story after that. So we go inside to do the show, and the system blows out. Mm. This was not a good trip.
And so we asked you about a horror story, and you just rolled right into it.
Right, but check it out. Oh. So me and Kaz instantly invent, because we from the Bronx. So we say, well, we got this other thing we do. It's called silent rapping. So we said, we hushed the whole crowd. Everybody's like, and Kaz started whispering in his rhyme, and they were like, yeah, say, oh. Everybody went, oh, say, oh. Now somebody don't scream. No. Yo, I kid you not. I kid you not. We did whisper rap, bro.
Oh,
the whole show. The whole show. We whispered the whole show.
And they enjoyed it. Huh?
I was right, yeah, because I was MCing too. I was saying everybody's rhymes. Mo's rhymes. I was just, now you go
they probably didn't know any better.
Because my intent is the time I spent is to say those rhymes that I invent is for your Yo,
Oh,
it's
that's
a good thing I'm
funny.
whispering, so they won't know I was saying Mo's rhymes. But yeah, it was funny, man. And then what's crazy is the next day, this was really a bad trip, man. The
Mm,
next day we on mopeds, man. And we going, Islam is there, right? So we going to see him where he's staying, and we ride up on the sidewalk one driveway early to go into the driveway we were supposed to go into. Cops, get off the bike.
they was just following y'all.
No, get on the ground. And it was a construction site. It was the dusty dirt, the
Oh,
cloud dirt. If you walk through it as a cloud, pig pen. And he
mm.
said, sit on the ground. I was like, man, I'm not sitting on the ground and in the dirt. I'm not doing it. And I went around to look at Kaz. I went, yo, Kaz, don't sit. Yo, Kaz, get up, man. Yo,
You're gonna be dirty.
he was down there. I was like, yo, Kaz, what are you doing? I'm not. And I went, I was like, dude, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Give us a citation, all of that, but I'm not getting on. He said, sir, you need to get on the ground right now. I said, give me a ticket. Give me something. And then all these people came running out. No, they're not from here. They're from New York, And then I said, Kaz, get up, man. Don't ever do that again. You know what I'm saying? And that was just a horrible experience. But now back to the other story.
Wow.
So we get on the plane and we all have this. I think we had a big dinner or something first, but we all meet up at the airport, and Ernie Petricelli, the photographer, he's taking pictures of everybody. We're on our way to Paris, the first hip hop tour. And we didn't know what to expect, but they embraced us for the most part. The Germany thing was an isolated incident, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was isolated. It was, for the most part, it was a great. They embraced us. We did the Hippodrome. It was like 60,000 people.
Mm.
60,000, and it was sold out.
Wow.
And it was just awesome. It was just an awesome event. And, we didn't make, I'm sure they made all the money off of it. We got paid, but we didn't come back rich or wealthy or nothing. But it was still a great experience, because most of the people there would have never traveled, never got to see that, to say, I want to do more,
Yeah.
and, I was good to go,
We got DJ So Lovely checking in. She's like, great grand finale.
So should I tell them what my new name is yet?
Huh?
No, not yet. We'll save it.
Oh, not yet.
Okay.
We'll see that later. Did y'all have cell phones then? Because you're talking 83, 84. Cell
No, there was
phones.
no such thing as cell phones. It was like, go to the phone booth out in the street on the corner. Still phones in the street. In the train station, there was a phone.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me show you something. You don't remember these?
Yeah, I had one of those. Brainiators.
This is the brick. Everyone,
Yeah,
this is the brick.
a brainiator.
This is what came out in 1983.
Yeah, Realistic made those.
Yes.
I bought mine. I got mine at what's the name? Radio Shack.
This is a US West cellular phone.
Right.
This is what a brick looked like, guys.
Hey, I used to wear that like a gun. Remember the holster that used to come in? You had to take the antenna off or cut a hole through your shirt. And I used to wear that. And people were like, what's that? And they would go, yo, he has his own phone. And you make one phone call and the phone bill be $300. Remember that?
$500.
Yeah, it's like, yo,
30 minutes. You get 30 minutes. You get 15 minutes. That was the plan back then.
Yeah, it was like, and me and Russell, One of my OGs, Russell Allen. We both bought them, so we were the only two with them. So the only person that was calling me was Russell.
Mhm.
You know, I would call him, "Hey man, where you at, man? I'm right behind you. Where you at?
Oh,
Turn
man.
around. I'm right here." That shit cost $500 to do that.
No. Where you at? All right.
Right, and that was it. Get the bill 500. I was like, now I don't need this phone.
We do have a question from DJ So Lovely. She says, uh, what, in your opinion, makes a good scratcher?
How could I best answer that question? In relation, in what context? Just DJing at a party or as a turntablist? Because there's two different approaches to it. But let me try to answer it anyway. As far as at a party, when you're playing scratching to other records, I think timing and precision is what makes you good. You know, if you're playing and you are entertaining, then tempo matters. If it's improvisation, tempo doesn't matter.
Right.
And so if you're in a club environment and you're scratching, you want to be on time with the record because you don't want to distract the rhythm or the timing because everyone's in there trying to dance. Now, and as from a turntablist perspective, which is playing with a live band, and that's something we should discuss to clarify that. Improvisation is one of the attributes of a turntablist. So you can play in time, play out of time, but it is about making your statement understood and the clarity of your statement as you in your precision and in your tempo abilities, your metering abilities. And so that's what makes you good in both of those. If you can't improvise live with a live band, if the drummer or the person who's playing the solo leads and he alters the meter or he goes into another time signature and you can't keep up, then you're not good. Or you need to practice more.
You need to practice more.
Right. You need to practice more. And the same thing with DJing, at a club or something. If you're scratching and you're out of time, especially in clubs, because it's about timing in clubs, isn't it? And on the dance floor, it's about timing. There's very rare that you see tempo improvisations in a discotheque.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. Oh, she's saying at a party. And I think you answered that.
Yeah, I did. I did both.
DJ West checking in. DJ CJ, he's asking if you had to battle another DJ, who would you least likely not want to face?
I never battled. I never had.
You weren't a battle DJ.
No one ever approached me to battle. And I never said I was better than any of the DJs of my time. I was just different. I was very unique to them. And I thought that there were some incredibly good DJs. But I never thought to challenge any of them skills wise. I admired some of the things they did. And we all have our good and bad days on the set. But I never thought that. I never thought to battle anyone. And there's no one today that I never had that.
Right.
That thought of battle. I never went through that.
Nice. So, all right. So take us through Rocket. How did all of that happen? Because you're helping producing now.
Right.
On that album. Take us through Rocket and how you end up. And I believe this is Grammy #1.
Right. And so we start by formulating like drum tracks. We sat down and discussed it. Bill explained to me what the direction he was going in, and Michael Beinhorn, we were discussing certain things, and they pretty much came to me and said, man, that thing that you do, because I'm the only person at the time on the planet that was doing that. And so we want something like that. If you can bring that to this record, this project, and try to make it fit. And so I sat down and I started listening to the drum tracks, and, everything that was being formulated was happening so fast. I just said, you know what, my trademark scratch that I did with Good Times at the end of Wild Style, I'm going to do a version of that. Now, here's the incredible part of this story.
Mm-hmm.
My scratch solo on Rocket is actually one take.
Wow.
I did it once. What you hear, I did that once. Wasn't a whole bunch of takes, and now I'm going to tell you why. Because I was extremely upset when I did it. I was devastated when I did it. I was very angry, and I became very bitter, because 1 week before that, there was a party in Edenwald Center, and I said, let me go, and I'm in the neighborhood, all the DJs look up to me now. Let me go in there and give a good thumbs up, knock them dead,
Right.
support the DJs coming up. I never made it inside. I got to the door, not to the door, I was on the side. I turned around to go in. I see a guy coming up to me with a gun. And by the time I react, there was another gun in my back. And I was with Boo. So they took us over to the side and they robbed us.
You talking about Booski?
Yeah, Booski, me and Boo. And so I got robbed. My DST chain, the gold chain. I never wore gold again after that either.
Right.
And my ring my mother bought me, and no more than $1,000 in cash, I think. And I'm in my own neighborhood and I'm staying in my neighborhood to help support the guys coming up. And what hurt me was some of the people involved, I knew. They knew me. In fact, I recognized one of the guns. That's how crazy it was. I thought they were playing because I had just seen that gun. I had just taken that gun from somebody's sister and gave it to them. Like, yo, your sister's walking around with this gun. And so I knew the gun. So I instantly knew who the players were. But by the time I got back to my house, they were ratting all the players out. People who looked up to me was like, yo, this person did it, that person did it. And so that devastated me, because here I am trying to be a positive image in our community, and my own community, people from my own community, attacked me in that way, which I could have been killed. Anything could have happened. There's guns involved. And then, I didn't want my brother to get involved because he's on a whole nother level with that kind of behavior. And so I went, that 7 days later, I took a cab from Edenwald Projects to Brooklyn to the studio, OAO studio on 3rd and 3rd. And I did one take and I left. I didn't even stay. And today, I had years and years to reflect on that. And today, I thank those guys for that. Then I was bitter about it because I was thinking materialism. But today, I thank them because they helped me to see something about myself that my talent did not expose the idea of celebrity. I wasn't really into that, but the tinkering of the jewelry and all that, trying to play the part.
Right.
And I realized that that's not me.
Mm.
It never was. And that was the last time I ever bought anything gold. And today, if those brothers are watching this, I thank you. I thank you. That was one of the best lessons for me, because it told me and it showed me what I really don't need to do what I do.
Wow.
Because 7 days after that, I did Rocket. I could have collapsed that day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could have said, okay, this is the game we playing. You know what I'm saying? That $1,000, I'll go spend another 10 on guns and weapons and teach you guys a lesson. You know, but
Wow.
I pursued what was in my heart and out of love. And so thank you, gentlemen, for that. That was a great lesson. Whether you realize it or not, you taught me one of the greatest lessons of my life. Keep it moving.
And look where you went. And
yeah, I don't know what happened to them, and I'm not going to say anything negative about them, because, like I said, they saved me, and they helped me to understand something about myself. So I hope they're doing well. I hope that that life did not destroy them. I hope they didn't pursue it, and I hope they're well, because you know, my actions in the studio was a direct reflection of where that put me. That incident put me there, and the rest is history.
Right. It's crazy how things happen, but had that not happened, does that one take scratch that won you a Grammy happen?
It doesn't. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And we can't say it could have, because it is what it is.
Yeah.
I went one take, I took a cab, got back in the cab and left. That was it.
Wow.
Yep.
We got a question from DJ Cam. He said, "Oh, Cam, you're gonna get joked on that now." He says, "Talk about the Change the Beat record with Fab Five Freddy. It was one of the most important records in hip hop." He's saying,
well, it was part of a collection. We did 5 records, and we didn't have any real ideas. Like when I programmed the drums for a lot of those records, and I was just making up drum beats, like right there.
Right.
I didn't have no. It was the first time I saw a DMX drum machine, and I didn't have no idea how to even use the machine. Martin BC, the engineer, was showing me what buttons to push. I'm a drummer, but technically this is a machine I've never seen before. And so I'm just programming these. And then, you know, believe it or not, if it wasn't for the DMX drum machine, Rocket wouldn't sound the way it sounds. That was a live drum player, it would have never worked that way. Because the way the pads are set up on the DMX drum machine, it automatically makes you go because of the pads automatically. Your mechanics changes in your brain because you're playing on a machine. You're not thinking, you know, velocity, you know, hitting harder or softer. You know, you're not thinking that. You go machine, machine, machine. and you're trying to be on time. And that's what gave that record that sound.
Right.
So all of those records, Change the Beat, Cuts It Up, The Roxy, all of those records were done using the DMX drum machine. And it was the physical mechanics in order to get your finger to hit those pads. You know, you're not playing with sticks. You're going like this on the drum machine. So it changes your whole concept of even velocity, because no matter how hard you hit it, it plays one velocity. You know, and then eventually they started making machines where you can change the velocity, the sensitivity to the pads and all of that. And so in making those records, you know, we had basic ideas. Like, again, I was new to the technology. And so when I sat in front of the drum machine, I did not think like a drummer. You know, I am a drummer, but sitting in front of a drum machine, I did not think like I didn't approach it. I thought only my drum thoughts was in time, keeping time. But as far as sensitivity and that all went out the window, because it's just these rows of pads that no one's ever seen before, you know, in the hood. And I'm standing there going, or and then you start, oh, shit, look what I can do. Look what I can do. And you OD on it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of what you're hearing is ODing. It's not playing and just, you know, writing out a pattern. It's just ODing on the pads because we really didn't know what we were doing. That's the truth.
And Change the Beat was made on
one of those records.
Wow.
Change the Beat is one of those records.
Wow. DJ CJ is saying, how many Grammys does he have? 3, correct?
Well, we won for Rocket. The next year, we got a Grammy for the sound system record. I never really mentioned that because I don't know how that happened.
By default, like listen, last year, let's just give it to him this year.
Right. And then I was part of the Defiant Ones Grammy when I did scoring for the Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine HBO special, The Defiant Ones, and it won Best Music. So I'm one of the contributors to that Grammy.
Nice. Nice. So now we're around 80, 84, 85 time frame.
84, the Grammys. That's 84.
So you're doing stuff with Celluloid too.
I'm still working with Celluloid. I'm getting offers from once Rocket hit, the floodgate opened, and we're getting calls from all over. We produced Gil Scott-Heron, Nona Hendrix, Mick Jagger, and you know, and I didn't work on all of those records. I was part of the materials production crew, but whenever I was needed, I would, you know, participate. I wasn't like the main cat producing these records. You know what I'm saying? I was part of the production team. And so we did Manu Dibango, So Makosa. We redid So Makosa. And I ended up doing a song with Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo. I'm still trying to figure out how that happened. Joe Piscopo came to Edenwald Projects. I kid you not. Joe Piscopo, in the prime of his career on Saturday Night Live.
Well, he was buffed anyway, so
yeah, he came Joe Bruce Lee Piscopo'd out. He came to Edenwald Projects, and he wanted me to help him work on this rap he was doing. Somehow, I started getting these calls from that area of the entertainment business to help them do rap stuff.
Right.
You know, and so he comes to Edenwald, and he's in the Edenwald apartment, sitting on my bed. Right. I don't have, you know. You know,
No,
the whole I live in Edenwald look. So he's sitting there looking around like, yo, dude, you live like this? Like, yo, dude, I grew up in the hood, baby. This is what it is. You dig? You know what I'm saying? So, and then they're scared. I could tell. They're like, they're not scared, but they're like, yo, seriously? Yeah, yeah. This is how I created all this stuff. Sitting here, stressing.
mm,
You know? So he said, I want to do the Honeymooners and me and Eddie Murphy. I said, okay. So I put together this guy did the beat, his producer, he did the beat, and then he left it with me, and I took the samples, Norton, Ralphie Boy, Norton, and I did all this crazy stuff, and it was like, oh my God, you got to do the record. And so I went out to the studio downtown, and there was Eddie. I was like, okay, I'm really in the mix now.
this is real now.
This is real now, because Eddie's sitting there, hey, what's up, man? Yo, okay. Yeah, and he's actually tried to snap on me. I was like, yo, dude, I'm from Edenwald Projects, but you don't want to go there with me. You know, snapping? Like, really? Dude, you will get done in here. I forgot who was there with me. But he said something about my shoes. I was like, yo, you snapping for real? You don't want it. You don't want it. Edenwald. It's hard. It's hard, B. You're going to have a hard time with me, bro.
Oh,
and that was the night, me and Eddie Murphy, that night, Joe Piscopo, Eddie Murphy, and a few other people, we watched Prince perform Purple Rain for the first time on a 12-inch TV.
Gee.
We stopped the whole session.
You talk about just a little bigger than this.
Yeah, we was watching, and we like, stop the session. Shh. And we like, shh, be quiet. And he did Purple Rain. Yeah, classic night. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And so what after that, he performed the show. He had his own special. Remember, he had his own special where he did the Bruce Lee thing.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened to Joe, because he got into serious exercising and stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we did that, and that was just a great experience working with cats like that and working with Eddie. I ended up at Eddie's house a few years after that. I was producing another record for Herbie, and Eddie's crib was one of the hangouts.
Mm.
And him and Herbie got into this crazy argument, man. Eddie basically threw us out. The shit was crazy. It's like, yo, get the fuck out.
I've been thrown out of better joints.
Yo, what was dope though, right? When Eddie threw us out, right? He hit this button and the whole front of his house moved over. Like a plane hangar.
So you couldn't come back in.
Yeah, the whole house, the whole front just went, and then you just see all outside. Like, yo, he was like, get out. I was like, and we were like, oh, yo, this is dope. He was like, yeah, just get out. Yeah, we was like, yo, hey, whoa, listen. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that happened. That actually happened.
Wow. We are going, everybody in this group, we are going long. We already at an hour and 46 minutes.
And we just getting started.
We're going to go till the internet runs out.
Yeah, we got to talk about when I got hit in the head with a bowl of Maypo.
Oh, yo, go ahead.
I'm not telling that story. Go ahead, man. What's next, man? We at the Roxy. We left the Roxy. I joined the Rocket Band. That's where we are now. So yes. I do the song Rocket, and it becomes this super mega phenomena hit that, a hit record's a hit record, but sometimes records come along that change things. And Rocket is one of those records that all of a sudden that was the last instrumental hit record. There hasn't been one really since then. And that's really strange because that was an instrumental.
For real.
No vocals. DMX drum machine, synthesizers, an actual African bata, and turntables and bass. That's it.
Wow.
And it's Daniel Ponce on bata, Herbie Hancock on keys, Michael Beinhorn is programming, Bill Laswell on bass, and myself on turntables. That was it. And so I get a call. They called a record company, actually, Celluloid Records. And they said, Herbie actually wants you to join his band. And I went, no way. And he said, yeah, they are convinced that what you're doing is something that people need to see, because what you're doing is so unique and so different from anything anyone's ever seen. And so he wants you to play in the band. Because in Material, I was doing that on tour. I was playing turntables. We were doing Rocket before we did Rocket with Herbie. And so, I did Montreux Jazz Festival, and I did Rocket, and Herbie said, look, that was the first time we did that. And they were like, nah, this is very unique. And this will give him the one up on everybody to have that, where this guy's actually doing that. And it just became this whole phenomenon because everybody wanted to come see me and play. I remember at rehearsal, we're in there rehearsing, and in comes Quincy Jones. And I'm like, oh no, Quincy Jones is here. And I'm all excited. And he came and he said, where is he? And he said, right there. He came up to me, took his chair, spun it around, straddled it, and said, oh shit, hold on. I disconnected myself. You still hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I pulled my mic out. So he straddled me and he went, okay, man, let's hear it. And I looked at Herbie. He was like, don't look at me. He said, let's do Rocket. We were rehearsing. So he sat there and watched me do it. And then when we finished, he gave me a big bear hug. He said, man, you're about to change everything. This is going to change everything. And he was right. So I joined the band, and I was shocked because they put me center stage. And I was like, dude, I'm center and I'm in the middle. And he was like, yeah, that's the plan. The plan is to put you center stage. This is about what you're doing. This whole album is about what you're doing. And so you're center stage. I was shocked at that. That's an artist that big, of that magnitude,
Right.
had that understanding, or he had the understanding of what people need to see when change comes. It's here. It's different. I'm a musician, but you're playing that. You're playing that turntable like a musician. And believe it or not, there was resistance. There was a lot of resistance for that. Like the not the purist community, but musicianship. Like, yo, dude, what are you doing? What, you got a DJ in your band? Are you serious? Like, come on, man, get out of here. Even band members were hesitant. And my whole thing was, okay, well, let me see you do it. If it's nothing, let me see. And then they realized that took shedding and practicing, like any other instrument you had to play. Mm-hmm. But what really made it easier for me, it was at a rehearsal. I had showed up late, and when I walked in, Herbie said, "Oh, see, now y'all can find out. Here he is. You could ask him." And they were like, "Yo, yeah, he wrote the song." And they all, "Oh, okay, now, oh, he writes. He's a musician. Yeah. How do you think he's doing that?" And then it started to change.
They looked at you different.
Yeah, once they realized that I'm actually a musician, then it but I for me, I'm thinking, like, just because it's something that you never seen used as an instrument, you can take the earpiece of broken glasses and a piece of glass, and ding, 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 you playing. So what are you saying? musicianship doesn't necessarily mean instrument. It's
Yeah.
understanding and elevate in expression with whatever is an instrument that you use as an instrument. I think that has been proven with turntables.
Mm.
I think
Wow.
so.
All right. So take us from that point to 1990, 1991. We doing it kind of in chunks.
Um, the '90s, I hit another turn um, in my life, in my career, and it was one of the most difficult times of my entire life. I'm actually, it's like a drug addict. You can get off of drugs, but you still an addict. And it's up to you to internalize what you must do and what you must not do. And so, 1989, June 1st, my brother was murdered in Eden Wall Projects, where I grew up my entire life. And so that was a reset for me. I didn't know that at the time because I was trying to deal with that. Now, meanwhile, mind you, I'm walking around with untold amount of money in my pocket. I became very, very, very angry. I was totally fed up with the word Eden Wall. It had been the nemesis of my career and my life. And finally it peaked because I lost friends there also.
Yeah.
And when my brother was murdered, something broke, some sort of connection to stabilizing my consciousness and my mind to propel me in the right direction. Something broke there. And I started having the most insane ideas, in leaning in the lane of revenge. Mind you, at any time I had 50 grand in my pocket. And I knew that for me to teach a lesson, I was just done with Eden Wall at that point. And I had decided what I'm going to do is probably going to be studied for a long time after I do this, because I'm going to teach these people a serious lesson. Because people thought my brother was the bad guy. He wasn't. And music has been my way of keeping my sanity and
Right.
myself together, because let's face it, we grew up in what you could refer to as a legalized insane asylum, where people slowly are driven crazy under pressure, drugs, and all kind of ill things that go into your brain, and you got to process it and then go to the store for your mother and then come back through all of that.
Yeah.
And so that I had hit that wall, and I had the means to respond to it in a way that would probably be a movie today. And it basically drove me a little crazy. I became depressed because I did not want to disappoint my mother. Someone took her son, and she now has to live out the rest of her life with that in her head,
Mm.
in her soul, that she has lost a son in her own community by over nothing, and people that we could easily sat down and resolved it. But the insanity of the community is why these things happen. The system that we are in trying to function and survive is why this happens. It took me a long time to process all of it so I can find a place of peace. It took me a long time. I literally wore all black, and anybody would tell you, for about 10 years straight. I went in my book, there's is a section called Fade to Black, where every day I had to wake up and say, no, don't do it. No, don't do that. No, don't do it. And I thought I was okay. And I got up one day and got in a cab and took it to the airport and flew to California. And I didn't bring anything, you know. And then I called Herbie. I told him, hey, you know, and he said, hey, man, just come on out here. I was already there. And I went back to New York and I packed up and I took my family and moved. But I was going through a lot. And I built a studio in Los Angeles thinking, let me just regroup. So I went there, I built a recording studio, and I'm sitting in the room and I'm about to work. And then it hit me that I don't know how to use this equipment.
Mm.
And that's when I realized I was suffering from something. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
forgot how to work my board. And I said, okay, I'm having a serious problem here and I need to find a way out of this because I'm no better than I was over there. The grief of losing a brother or sibling to murder is something that you never get past that.
Right.
It's you live with it and you have good days and bad days with it. But my mother has this look on her face. Even though she smiles, she's happy, she laughs, she cries. But there's this one look that she has that started the day the detectives told her her son was dead. It's there and it's permanently there. And you can't change it. There's nothing you can do to fix that in a parent when they lose their children to anything.
Yep.
And so it is a blow through my family that is, you can't fix it. We have to just move on, and every day we live with that pain, and we put it somewhere so that we can function. And this is every family. Just imagine in Chicago and these places where it's insane. You know, this is what's going on, and that's a
I think we broke the internet. I don't hear you.
Hold on. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, man. I'm sorry. We didn't pay the electric bill, and I just paid it.
I think we
Yeah,
broke
we
the
just paid the
internet.
bill.
We got knocked off. I'm wondering if it'll pop back up. We're on
It was too
air.
powerful, right?
It's for real. And I was just explaining. You know what? We gonna go with this, and I'm gonna go live.
Let's go. I'm good to go.
Yeah, we should be back on the air. Let's refresh. Go in. Gee. 2 hours. We are on. Okay.
We
We
back?
are still live. Okay. I was just
Okay.
wondering.
So let me explain to everybody what happened. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
I forgot to pay the electric bill,
Okay.
and so I just paid it. I just paid it over internet.
You just paid it in like a minute, like 60 seconds.
I just paid the electric bill, and we back on. Okay, my bad. Sometimes this whole COVID thing. They told me that we didn't have to pay, and so I just proved that shit ain't true because they shut my shit off. And
Oh man,
right now I'm running on battery power right now.
we gonna go to the internet finish.
Okay, here we go.
So
ready?
you left off at
I was talking about my
your brother.
mom and my brother, and so what I was saying was, and this is going on right now, and I'd like to just add this, it's great to see people come out and demonstrate for atrocities that are happening in our community. But there's something that it's also saying. It's saying that there's a disconnect in the universal understanding of humanity, because we're not marching when Pookie kills Ray Ray every other day. What's the difference between that murder and that murder? Murder is murder. Why is it that because a white person killed somebody from our community, looked at with pain and hatred and all of the emotion that's built up for that, but when a black person is killed, there's no marching, there's nothing. And so, and for anybody who has a problem with what I'm saying, my brother was murdered. So you can't tell me, you know what I'm saying? You
Right.
can't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? Because Al Sharpton didn't call my house when my brother got murdered, okay? There was no lawyers coming to my house, and there's none of that. Nobody marched through Eden Wall when Lanza got murdered, okay? When Malibu got murdered. Nobody marched. Nobody marched when my brother was murdered. It was business as usual. Those people were murdered. And it's more important. It's just as, if not so even more important, to recognize the damage that a community does to itself. The reason why these police officers and people take this position against us because they see no love within the community. If they see you doing that to each other all day long, what did you think they're going to think twice? You see what I'm saying? But we're not thinking about that. Look, they killed another. Listen, man, that same day, you know how many brothers got shot and murdered by other brothers and sisters? And we ignore that to focus on this, which now appears to be some sort of agenda. And that's a whole nother subject. But my point is, you know, we need to look in the mirror at what we're doing when it comes to this. Everybody's looking at they're going to change laws. They're going to fix things. They're going to correct things. Things are changing. It's a reset. It's a reset. If somebody never treated you right, they're never going to teach you right. If you're expecting for the people who took everything from you, what's your name, DXT? What's your mama name you? That's a 400-year-old problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
if you expect that to change, it didn't change. If somebody borrowed money from you, right? And you go up to him and go, yo, let me get my money, man. Yo, I have it. Yo, let me get my money. A week later, no, I have it. 2 months later, let me get. You know he ain't giving you back your money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know you're not getting that money back. So why is it that 400 years, and I'm not trying to be funny, but it's crazy. 400 years, you still expecting something to change? So reset. It is designed for the next generation to adjust their threshold for tolerance of the same phenomena to where we were when we thought things were going to change. I'm sorry to skew off into that, but talking about my brother, that right. brings me there, because I see all this marching and all of that, and every time I see that, I go, but nobody marches for all the brothers that's murdered by brothers. That's where the real march is supposed to be. Stop that. If you want the police and all of these other outsiders to stop harming people in your community, we have to stop the issues in our community with violence. Nobody's going to respect you when they see you destroying your women and your men. You got men knocking girls out on camera, screaming "World Star" with men recording it. Those ain't men. Mm-mm. You got brothers filming these murders and filming these assaults, showing the world that Black lives don't matter. Bring it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We screaming Black Lives Matter, but we showing Black lives don't matter to so-called Black people. You can say what you want. Let's look at it. You know, there's something definitely wrong here, and it's in here. Something wrong. You know, like, he could say nigga because it's spelled with a instead of an ER. So is murder DA and not ER? That's why it's okay. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so we need to fix that. We need to deal with these issues. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care what the police are doing, because all of that can change once we change what we're doing. If we change that right now, 100%, that would stop immediately. When you show this group of people truly love themselves and love each other, leave them alone, because they're together. We are not together. And so they're able to do that because we are not together. We have bought into this European construct of individualism. How is Timberland able to sell that many boots to the same people? Yeah. How many people line up to get shoes that cost $40 to make $500 in the store and you still stand out there. Let me make a shoe and let's see. Oh man, you only spent $10 for that shoe. I ain't buying that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because somebody says it's Nike or whoever and it's so and so's name on it, so now it has this value to who? It only has value to the seller. Ignorance is a food source for others. I'll repeat that. Ignorance is a food source for others.
Right.
And we over here screaming Black Lives Matter. Meanwhile, 99 people shot in Chicago last week. So who does Black Lives matter to? Who does it matter to? Because it definitely is not showing that it matters to the Black community. And we'll use community loosely because there is no Black community. Not that I can't see one. I can't see one. I see everyone have bought into this idea that I'm an individual and I'm going to get mine and do me and do mine. You can't function that way. That's why things are the way they are. We have a relationship to each other as a unit, as a people. And once they broke that up, do you really think they're going to allow that in their system? This is their system. You know, reparations. You think that's really going to change things? We don't need in their system. We didn't need them to give us nothing. Black Wall Street proved that, and all the other Black Wall Streets around it proved that. We don't need them to give us nothing. You have to look at what they did once we established that. They dropped bombs on it. They could have said, well, there you go. You don't need no reparations. Y'all good. Y'all got your own banks, your own stuff. Y'all can put one of those up everywhere. No, you're not having that. Are you kidding me? It's all an illusion.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna do business with China, Russia, and all that in your banks? Blow it up. And they blew it up. First time ever bombs dropped on American citizens, Black Wall Street, so-called citizens. And so, I'm sorry I went down this road, man. But when I touch my brother,
about you, yeah, it's all about you.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm looking at these marches and I'm saying to myself, ain't nobody march for my brother. None of my brothers that I lost in the street. Nobody marched for them, you know? And here we are crying about these incidents when in our own neighborhoods, there is debauchery of the highest level. And we ignore it because it's done with a DA and not an ER. That's insanity, you know. And insanity is a perfect. It's a saying. Insanity is a perfectly natural adjustment to an unnatural and negative environment, and that's been our experience from day one. Unnatural and negative environment, but somehow the misleaders have guided us through all of this foolishness to think that this time it's going to be different. This time, how many times again are you going to ask this dude to give you back your shoes? After 6 months, he's not giving you back your shoes, man. You knew that after 2 weeks.
Right.
We're talking 400 years. 400 years. You still asking? Think about it.
Yeah.
You still thinking? You still expecting that to change? It cannot change. It will never change. I hope I'm not breaking nobody's heart who really thought that that's possible. But after 400 years, you have to look truth in the face. If you want things to change, you have to change them. If you're expecting the person who has made this way to change it, they're never going to do it. Their entire existence and system of survival for them is based on this system. He who has the most is the least likely to change. And he who does the most complaining needs to do the most changing.
That's a good one.
And that's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just hope that this generation comes up, doesn't do what we did, what the generation before us did. But how do we make sure that we have to go see them? We have to tell them, don't do, this is what we did. This is why we still seeing this. This is why we're talking 400 years later and we're still in the same position.
Yeah.
Because we're waiting for somebody else to change. I don't care how much money you got. You cannot live beyond the experience of your people. You may think you can, but it's just the area of the farm, the plantation that you get to go to. But if you go a little further, you're going to see that sign that says, nigga, turn around. Keep going. We just stay over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keep going. You could be a billionaire. Let's talk to Bill Cosby and see. He never left the plantation. Yeah, there's billionaires on the plantation. But you ain't leaving. Not if you waiting for them to let you leave.
Right.
The only way you leaving is if you leave for real. You leave, not can we go? Because that's all we doing. Can we go now? No. I need you to stay here. Here's some money that I print. You know what I'm saying? Here's some banks.
Now,
here's materialism. Here's a car. Yeah. Here's a Bentley. You can't eat none of that shit, though.
I know in the world of hip hop, you're attempting to change minds about certain things with your team hip hop.
Absolutely. Team hip hop is
tell us about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a movement that we started, and we thought about the violence. This is exactly good segue, my brother. So we were thinking about, look at all this debauchery going on in the hood, and then once one person gets shot or beat up or stomped out by the cops, everyone comes out in mass to protest. But these dudes that's gunning each other down, they're not trained to do that. It's reckless. A young girl was just recently showing her mom something and was shot in the neck and died and killed right there. Recently by a stray bullet. And so we have to address the community, the young people in our community who is doing this. That's our responsibility. It is not the responsibility of the people who put us in the condition so that this would ultimately begin to happen. That is the result of the condition that we're in. Taking guns out of the community also, that's not a cure, because the cure is not the guns. The violence is not, ending the violence is not the solution to the problem. Those are symptoms to the real problem. You see what I'm saying? Gun violence is a symptom. It is not the actual disease. And we keep dealing with the symptoms. This George Floyd thing, we're dealing with the symptom. Their books, their legislature, their writings, their rules, their everything. And we want them to change their things. Those are symptoms to our problem. Our problem is we do not look truth in the face and say, that is what it is. And we need to change us. We can't fight them. They are going to do what they're going to do. And this is what Team Hip Hop is about. It is about looking truth in the face and saying, what do we need? Do we need to get guns and go after them? No. No. That would be us acting in a desired manner.
Right.
With people who can easily mow the lawn with everybody on it. Gone. You know what I'm saying? So what we need to do is we need to find out what is the real issues, not the symptoms. What is the actual problem here within ourselves? And what it is, one of them, is that we have accepted a social system that was not designed to work for us from day one. It cannot work for us. It could never allow the playing field to be balanced. It's designed to do that. To think that the social system in play is going to allow you to really compete, you're deluding yourself. To think, well, how come you have this person and that person? If you don't, then you would recognize what I'm saying. If you don't have the Oprahs and the Michael Jordans and you know, that doesn't exist, then you would be clear on what you must do. The illusion of attaining these materialistic gains is what keeps you in check. The March on Washington was derailed. That was the first evidence in our time of seeing how that's done. And so today, now, what Team Hip Hop is doing is we are focusing on what our issues are. One is health, diet. This so-called coronavirus, they're saying all these underlying illnesses in people of color in the community. What is that? What are those so-called underlying? Like it's just normal, like it's normal. And we normalize it. Yeah, we got underlying illnesses. Why? If that's true. Why? Yeah. Because the conditions that we're in, the food that we eat, we don't control our food. We're not educated properly on what you should and should not eat. You are being fed to be sick. You're being fed by the pharmaceutical companies. They're the ones who are putting the food in your communities so that you can not be healthy. So that they can give you a drug that will clear your pimples, but kill you. And they tell you that. They got us so conditioned. They have commercials that say side effects. Basically, they should just say side effects is going to kill you long run. But look at the conditioning, like where it's just so common and so normal. We normalize ourselves to sheer utter insanity, and we keep going forward. And so that's one. Team Hip Hop is health, spiritual, isn't? And I'm not talking about Jesus, Bible, Allah, and all that. I'm not even going to comment on that because we're still here where we are with the same problems. Right. So you take that, put that in the equation, see what it's done, and process that. Anybody who believes that, do you? Me, I'm looking at the fact that I'm not totally sure anymore that we truly understand how the English language works. That's how deep we're going with this. I'm not sure anymore that as a people, I don't think we totally know how the English language really works. And so we use this language. One, it is not in the natural frequency of our genetic makeup. I know I went off the farm just now, but yes, there's a farm outside of what we normally know. It's out there. And that's why I did that. And so I think that we are trying to exist because our humanity says, let's not fight. It's just natural in us, but we're broken. And so in the house, we're destroying each other. But when we go out, we think of how humane we must be so that we can get along. I'm not advocating violence against anybody because we're all on this planet. Nobody's getting off this planet alive. But there is a mental illness that has been in control of this planet for almost 2,000 years now, maybe a little bit more. But definitely let me put it this way. For several hundred years, it's been in total control of this planet. And we have to deal with that. And we have to face it and look it in the face and go, look, I'm here just like you are. So what gives you the right to use terms like murder and then flip it into something called manifest destiny? How'd you do that? How'd you make murder manifest destiny? How'd you do that? How do you make anti-lynching law just now, but you've been murdering people for 400 years here? So what does that mean? Like the term murder and lynching don't mean the same thing? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that right there, we should really stop for a minute and go, wait a minute. Why are you passing a anti-lynching law now? What's lynching? Does it refer to a specific people?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And we're not thinking, oh, look, they passed the anti-lynching. Listen, man, murder is murder. Murder is murder. You call it what you want. The original term they had here was manifest destiny. Sounds real good. It's murder. It's wholesale murder, rape. I mean, it's insane. And so, and let me tell you something. Every person that's constituted as white or Caucasian, they don't agree with that. They're not with that.
No.
At all.
Most
of them have been educated to be the way they are by the original cats who came here, who were insane. White supremacy is a mental illness. And when you have mentally ill people controlling the education system and controlling books and controlling everything, we're going to see what we see. But we don't think about these things. So we just see white people with their attitudes not going, yo, dude, you just been miseducated.
Right. You
just miseducated, bro. Let me tell you, I was on the train and I had my bike, my expensive bike too. I'm on my bike. I'm a rider, team hip hop, right? So I'm training. I get on the train. The guy goes, it's a nice bike. I said, yeah, it looks expensive. I said, well, I enjoy riding. I wanted something really. He said, yeah, you're one of them niggers, man, that really like nice stuff. And it was like E.F. Hutton on the train. The train went silent. You couldn't even hear the car, the motor running. It was like, boom, 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 boom. And I just looked at everybody and they all had their mouths open. And I said, today's a good day, bro. You got the right guy. And so with your permission, I would like to share some things with you and all the other white folks on the train. See, I understand what it is. Now, normally my reaction to you would be, yo, who you call a nigga? Like we do because we're crazy.
Yeah.
And we say nigga to each other all day up and down the 5 train, the 2 train. And then the white guy gets in the car and goes, which one of you niggers have the time? And you ready to kill him? Is there something wrong with him? Or is there something wrong with you? That the same exact word got a different psychological, emotional response from you over the same word, that you could not control yourself. See what I'm saying? And so for me, I said, my man, let me explain something to you. It is an irrefutable, peer-reviewed scientific fact that so-called Caucasian people are a genetic mutation off of people of color. And so I don't know if you know this or not, but you are a genetic mutation off of me. And it's not an insult. It is a peer-reviewed scientific fact. I am not trying to belittle you. I'm not trying to down you. I want you to help you understand the science so that we can stop this foolishness that you feel that you need to belittle me by calling me that. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
go do your research. You are a genetic mutation off of my genes. And so that's not because I'm better than you or anything, but
Right.
you come from me. And I said, so now as a joke, if you're going to call me a nigger and you come from me, that makes you a neglect. And the train bus, everybody started laughing on the train. You know what I'm saying? I said, see, now that was fun, you know, because I could have went sideways. Oh, nigga, but
Yeah.
listen, I got friends who are Caucasian and they're my close friends. They're my brothers. You know what I'm saying? And females who are dear, close friends to me. But I understand the condition and the conditioning that they had to put in place to hide these realities for whatever reason they chose to do that.
Yeah.
But we are here now at the end of a way of life as we know it. It cannot go further than where we are. Now, we know there's all of these secret organizations are involved in doctoring this agenda that we see happening. This is not by accident. None of it is. This is we're out of time to me to go into that. But this is not an accident that what we're experiencing. This is by design. We are going into a time where certain things are going to happen that no government can control. No
Right.
government. I don't care how much money you have, how little or more money. We're in a reset point. And the reset means you could be extremely rich or extremely poor. It is only a matter of time based on what the system, the universal system is doing. It is going to reset all of that. All you got to do is study history. It's happened several times. The climate is changing and it's not man driven. It is nature and it's natural. And there is no government that can tell the sun what to do.
For real.
You see what I'm saying? There's no government, there's no missiles, there's no nothing that we have that can deal with the natural changes of climate. And that's why I keep saying one of the things with Team Hip Hop is the next is agriculture. It is critical that everyone starts to grow their own food. I say that every interview I do. It is absolutely critical that you start learning how to grow your own food. Because if you look at Venezuela, look at Yemen, go right now, anybody, go look how much is a dozen eggs in Venezuela. I think it's about $150, a dozen eggs. Okay. And so that's collapsing. It's already collapsed. That's what's coming here. That's what you're seeing. That's what this is. They're preparing for these things that they cannot control. So the more control you have over people, the less strife you'll have out in the street. When the food and all of these things. Look at, you seen French fries at McDonald's lately? See how skinny they are? I know everybody that's seen that going, yo, you're telling the truth. Look at a box of cereal. You see how thin the box is? It's called shrinkflation. Shrinkflation. They're doing it slowly, downsizing, because it's less and less and less because of the climate shifts. The farmers cannot get the food, the seeds in the ground in time, and the yields don't come out right because they lose it through the cold, and the frost destroys the food. So much for global warming. What's happening is the planet is getting colder, and they've been selling the global warming, but now go check. Anybody that doubts it, go look, and you will see the planet is getting cooler. And so that's the other thing of Team Hip Hop, to try to educate people on agriculture. The other thing is spirituality of finding a base method of finding who you are, finding out what makes you happy, what disrupts your soul. Find these things. The problem that we have is that we don't know where to find them within ourselves because we scattered because of the social system that we're in, trying to function in. All of these issues are caused by our social environment. Our environment is set up to do what it's doing. And what it does is it keeps us indoors. One thing, like what we're seeing now, this quarantine. People with melanin are supposed to be in the sun.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see a lot of people of color with these medical issues because we're not getting the right amount of vitamin D. We're suppressing our vitamin D because we are not functioning like sun people. We're functioning like European people. And that's not to say anything's wrong with European. That's how they function. It's how they function.
Yeah.
But our functionality as far as survival as a people and be healthy is we are sun people. We spend most of our day out in the sun. We go indoors at night in the motherland so that, you know, a lion wouldn't come and slap your hair off. Okay. And so, but we are supposed to be in the sun interacting. There's information. There's a conversation going on between us and the sun. And that conversation has been diminished greatly. And so because of that lack of conversation that we have without speaking English, this conversation occurs where this information from the cosmic rays and and our bodies interact. We're having these issues. One of the things you heard about the COVID thing was what they say, people with vitamin D deficiency are suffering the most or are suffering a lot from this COVID thing. They know what they're doing. You know, they're never going to stop. They're never going, the Terminator is real, bro. They're never going to stop. They can't.
In the chat, we have two two mixed versions. Some people want you to preach and preach, and others want you to keep going with your career. So
this is my career.
We've been
I
going.
I am born again.
We've been going for 2 hours and 40 minutes now.
Okay, but let me end on Team Hip Hop. The last thing that Team Hip Hop do was mind, body, soul, culture, agriculture, health, and mental health and all of that. But we're getting ready to start is the Team Hip Hop shooting team, firearms and firearm training. We're adding that because it is essential to understand what times we are in and where we are. And so we're going to offer firearm training, long guns, handguns. We're talking to a few people now that can help set up. Hold on, I lost my signal. Help set up getting firearm licenses and stuff like that. And so we got Team Hip Hop shooting team coming. And my daughter, who she just texted me yesterday, she just got awarded expert long gun skills. And
nice.
She's in the Marines. She's an officer in the Marines. She just tested yesterday, and she's been an expert for quite some time, but they got to keep doing it. Yep. So she's got expert status as a sniper. And so yeah, we want to train people and about guns and weapons so they understand what it's about, not just use to make you tougher than the other guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a whole, it's a whole mindset that you have to have. It's a whole culture, gun culture. There's ways of dealing with owning guns and handling guns, and people need to know that. And I'm for gun control. Control your gun. You know what I'm saying? The law of the land says that you have the rights to bear arms, but again, that's that system. I don't need no one to tell me I have the right to defend myself.
Right.
I don't need no one to write in a book or a document saying that I have the right to defend my life. if someone is trying to take my life, whether you have a badge on or a bikini on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this at this point, you know, for all of you dudes with the phone filming people getting beat down by the police, you heard me? Man up. Because at that point, that officer, anybody could have physically stopped him at that point. When you see that, it is your duty, and everyone there is your duty to make a citizen's arrest if you have to, but it is your right and your duty to stop that. Murder is murder, whether you have a badge on or no badge. Doesn't matter what your status is in police force, law enforcement, whatever. If you are committing a crime, anybody standing there has the right to stop you. Lethal force if necessary.
Roger that.
And that's where it is. That's from this day on, that's what it is. You have the right. Stop filming and stop that shit.
Yeah. I don't get that, you know, just sitting there and doing nothing.
Screaming world star. You have the right to use, if you must, see that? See that? They agree. That's how powerful that was.
So,
you have the right. You have the right as a human being on this planet. Before these documents and these medals and badges and uniforms, we are human beings. So move all of that other foolishness that you've put in play to justify your behavior. Gone.
mm-hmm.
That man is killing that man. That's it. I'm standing on that. I hope I never see that, because my intentions is to stop it.
Right.
If I see you trying to kill somebody, then you do not deserve to live.
That's deep.
If you have a badge on and you are misusing your badge and trying to kill someone, you will be killed.
Deep.
Just listen. At that point, you have thrown out your status as a police officer. You have now become a murderer or an attempted murderer. And it is my duty as a human being, as a member of the human family, to stop you. And if I have to use lethal force, so be it.
Right.
I respect your badge. I respect your job. But once you show me that you have now gone beyond the perimeters and the boundaries of what your job description is, you are now just another sick person that must be put down. And that's it. And that's the way we should look at it from now on. Dude, do your job. You go beyond that, dude. I have a job to do as a member of the human family, and that is to stop you.
Right.
But he got a badge. That badge doesn't mean nothing at the point where he's murdering somebody. And this is the fear. We got the fear. Oh, no. But what's going to listen? That's over. That's over. No more of that. Man up. Man up. You see somebody doing that, and there's enough of y'all, stop him.
Right.
Arrest him for murder or attempted murder.
It's saying we setting a new record here.
Don't sit there and go, oh man, what you doing, man? Yo, you choking him. Yo, he's dying. Yo, look, he urinated on him. Yo, why you doing that, man? No more of that. My man, you got the count to 10. That's it. 1, bah! I'm sorry. I can't count. Give them at least a warning, dude. That's beyond your job description, and that's it. We're not doing that no more. No more of that. No more mothers in the hospital while they pounding on their son's chest because you killed him because you was making an arrest.
Mm.
No more of that. No, make the arrest, bro. But once you cross that line, your cop status is done.
Yeah.
Cop status is done, B. That's the new way to do it. That's the new approach. No disrespect.
Right.
I love the police department for the good things they do, but there are cops out there who join the police department to do what you see them doing. They are members of societies that infiltrated the law enforcement agencies to do what they're doing. And now we have to let them know, when we see you doing what we know you're trying to do, all bets is off.
Mm.
Your cop status is liquidated on sight, B. Done. You are not a cop. You are not a cop. No more cop status. That's it. That respect, that's it.
For real. So
And you can't listen. If you got a criminal and he's a criminal, you do your job and deal with the criminal. But when you stop a person because somebody say, "Oh, he looks suspicious," and he's dead within an hour.
Mm. Yeah, it is a shame.
Like, dude, like, no.
Mm. So D, let's lighten this up now. Let's get to some.
But I'm not safe.
Let's get to some news. You are wanting to break about your new project you got going on.
Oh man, we got to talk about something else before I get to that, man. Let's talk.
It's getting late. I'm getting hungry now.
I'm waiting for the FBI to show up at my door for this post, man. So, I got to talk about nice stuff. So when they knock on the door, like, yo, this is what we talking about, man. So, hey, look, man, I don't care, man. I don't care, man. That's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah, I'm speaking truth, man. I don't fear none of that stuff, man. None of it. Right is right. I'm basing this on being a human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Human. That's who I am. And so those guns and badges have been misused, and they were designed to do what we see them doing. Mm. Now, do I want them to eliminate the police forces like what everybody's being conditioned to think that we should do? No, I don't agree with that at all. I think that the people who live in the community should police their communities, first of all. When you put people who you train that hate these people for most of their life and look at the shit that we post of ourselves that they watch on Facebook. That's why I keep telling my brothers, stop posting debauchery. You are not helping our case. You're not helping us when you post these fights and us beating each other up and these women fighting and dropping their babies in the middle of an argument, literally drop their baby and the baby dies when it hits the floor. This kind of sick stuff. We're not helping our community. We're telling them this is Black lives don't matter. We say it every day. Mm. We say Black lives don't matter every day on Facebook with the bullshit that we post of us destroying each other.
I don't watch any of it.
Well, this is what's happening. And so this situation is really about the mirror. It ain't about the George Floyd situation. Is about a big mirror that we all should stand in front of. What am I doing that causes them to think that they can do that? That they can do that. You see how the brother was laying there. My man had his knee on his neck, but did you check out the eye contact that he had? Nobody caught that really. He's looking into the camera. He's looking into your soul. Like, dude, this is what it is. Look right into the camera, right into your eyes while you looking right into his. Psychological, powerful. And here next day, I see brothers posting fist fights. You don't see the connection, brothers? You don't see the problem that you're causing when you do that? You're telling the whole world that Black lives don't matter. So how are you screaming Black lives matter when you posting fights of Black people destroying each other? Mm. It's the mirror. I'm changing my name to Grand Mirror No. So anyway, man, I'm going in and out of good, but you once you go into my brother, it's hard for me to.
Yeah.
I really needed to take a walk before I came back here because I'm here now. But let me try to readjust. Let's go back to
Let's get back to something happy now.
yeah. So I changed my name. I got a new nickname, and it's the Grand Washington Carver. And I call myself the Grand Washington Carver because I started farming. Because again, like I said, food is going to become a very serious issue on this planet for everybody. And I truly recommend that people start growing their own food. Because in a minute, it's going to become very difficult. Just-in-time delivery, and for those who don't know what that means, just-in-time delivery is that truck that comes every 3 days to resupply your neighborhood grocery store. That's not guaranteed. That's not promised. You see what I'm saying? So just-in-time delivery may come to an end, especially with what's going on now. They're having problems getting trucks to bring food to these places. But you got all kind of other issues that may cause just-in-time delivery to cease to exist. And once that happens, that waking up in the middle of the night and going to a 24-hour grocery store is not doable. What are you going to do? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's critical for you to have a plan. And the plan is to feed yourself. Grocery stores is not as old as you think it is. It just happens in a few lifetimes, but you go back several hundred years. It was, everyone had to farm and grow their own food and share and trade, and depended on real food. I mean, half of the food that we're eating is not even real food. Check that out. Half of the food we eat is not even real food. Mainly the meat. It's all processed meat and all that stuff. And we just grow up and we're trained to just do it because everybody else is doing it. But now we're at a point where it's time for us to use this to reset everything. Not get them to change their books. Those are their books. And they're not going to change their books where we are going to be on par in this system. That's never going to happen. And if you really believe that's going to happen, then go well, my brother, and live in peace. But it's not going to happen. So farming is one of the things that we're doing, Agriculture Team Hip Hop, because of the issues that I just stated. And it's very critical. I started building a 10 by 4 planting beds. I did 6 of them. I really got into it. I leveled them. I started studying the farming books. I got some really simple ones. I could give it to you so you could send to all of your viewers. And
what are you planting right now?
I'm planting. I started with everything that I know I eat is the first thing you should make sure that you learn how to grow. Because if you grow things that you don't eat, chances are you won't eat it and then you'll starve to death. And so I'm learning how to grow the things that I normally eat, and then advice from other people. And we actually went and spoke to a farmer, and we getting advice from farmers. Every night I study for about 4 or 5 hours of farming techniques and growing techniques. And so now tomorrow I'm doing 2 more beds. One is extreme. What's the word I'm trying to? One is built just solely for sweet potatoes.
Okay.
I'm doing an isolated sweet potato because I discovered that they have vines that sometimes go out and choke out the other plants as far as the food. The sweet potatoes are from Edenwall, and so
colors the buildings,
right. And so I'm making a bed just for sweet potatoes, but it is very humbling. It is very relaxing. It's strenuous but relaxing. It gives you time to think about things and rehash things and work things out. You know, I grew up, you know, I went to school, but I didn't go to school. And recently, Rhonda Supreme, I showed her my report cards, and she was like, "Holy snap!" Because I'm talking about first grade, second grade, third grade. They all say he doesn't want to be here. He's not listening. He ain't doing it. He ain't doing it. I didn't. I didn't want to be there. I didn't belong there. And I walked away at high school. I didn't belong there. People go, what college you went to? I did end up going to a college, but I am proud to say that I was able to not be indoctrinated as bad as some of my brothers that I wish they would have followed me out of the school buildings, you know, when I did that. But I internalized that I did not belong here. Something is wrong with this system that does not work for me. And it just so happened to be the best thing that happened to me is not to go through completely through the Board of Education system, because now we know it is not education, it is miseducation, and it is programming and reconditioning process that they call education. And so, and sure, I was, you know, I'm a proud member of special ed, you know, and so, and people go, why do you tell people that, man? Because I don't care. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff is
the only other class they could put you in.
Yeah, well, they put me there because they saw that I wasn't functioning right. I wasn't. The program wasn't taking. He's not. The program ain't working. The program ain't working. And so put him over here, keep him away. He might poison the other kids. Because I was talking, and I talk too much. And I always had ideas. And I was always sharing my ideas with the other classmates. And I was like, yo, get him out of here. You know, seriously, that was my elementary all the way till I decided, you know what, I'm out.
Hey,
I'm done.
We've been doing that for the last 3 hours.
Yeah, same shit.
Sharing.
Yeah, same shit. But recently, I about eight or 9 years ago, the Monk estate, Thelonious Monk, the jazz musician Thelonious Monk, his son T.S. Monk was advised by a gentleman named Cecil Brooks, who owned a club in West Orange, New Jersey, Cecil Swingin' Jazz Club. He introduced us because they had found a tape of Thelonious Monk live in Carnegie Hall. I think it was 1957. And it was Thelonious Monk and John Coltrane live in Carnegie Hall. They found this tape. It's a national treasure. And they wanted to make a recording of it. And I don't know how this happened, but my name came up because I'm a Pro Tools expert.
Right.
And so Cecil Brooks introduced me to Monk, and he said, I have this tape that the Library of Congress has it. They're going to bring it here. We're going to transfer it. And I was told that you're the guy to do the transfer. And so I innovated, not invented. I innovated because I used devices that already existed. I innovated something called forensic editing. And subsequently, this record became one of the biggest selling jazz records of all time. It got critical acclaim for the sound that I got for it and that I mixed. And so several years later now, they found another tape.
Wow. And
this one is called Palo Alto Concert in Palo Alto, I think, California. And it was a young kid during the whole race issues in perfect timing, and a young white boy who wanted Monk to come to his school and do a concert in a all white community, right? And the people were like, no, no way, nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to see this black man play. Nobody. Who's this guy? Nobody wants to see it. No black. Why are you bringing a black person to our community? And so he contacts Monk somehow, a kid, a student in the school. And Monk goes, okay, I'll do it.
Wow.
And they sell tickets, and people are looking around. I mean, they have the booth waiting to see if anybody's going to show up, if Monk's going to show up. People didn't even think he was going to show up. And he shows up, and they perform this concert. And the young man got the custodian of the school to record it.
Wow.
He said, it was a hobby of his recording. So he said, let me record it for you. So they recorded it with some system, small little system of that time. And we got the tape and we transferred it to digital, and I restored it. And so it's coming out July 31st, Palo Alto, Thelonious Monk. And it's going to be on Universal Records. As a matter of fact, it's the biggest project Universal is actually working right now. It's their main project right now. It's this Thelonious Monk record, Palo Alto. And let's see, we got it, the last one in late, so we didn't get the Grammy nomination. But I think this time we will definitely. They're already talking Grammys and all that stuff. So let's see if I can bring another one for the fellas, for the hood,
For the hood,
and again, I'm from Edenwald Projects, and that's where I grew up. That's where my insanity happened. That's where my sanity and insanity, my love and hates. And all of those things happen, and so it is what it is. But yeah, let's see if this thing does what we think it's going to do, because it's a great performance. Monk is he's one of the greatest jazz musicians that ever existed on the planet, and for me to have the opportunity to have access to the estate and be the person responsible for bringing his music back into the light in this way is a great thing, and I'm humble, and I thank T.S. Monk for trusting in me, his father's estate.
Nice. So we're gonna start wrapping this up, but let everybody know what other projects that they may not know that you've worked on, either doing movie scores or co-producing or.
Oh whatever. Man, my first film was Colors.
Wow.
Colors.
See,
Colors.
No idea.
Colors. Because I just do things and I keep it moving. I had a conversation with Prince, and he knew of me, but he didn't know me. So we talking, and he's like, you were such a phenomenon when this thing happened, but nobody really knew who you were. You was just this thing. And I said, yeah, because at the time MTV didn't really play black people. So, and that's true, and so they didn't show me. I'm not even in the video. And Herbie's only in this little frame for about 4 seconds because they didn't really play black musicians on MTV at the time. And that's why the whole turntablist thing took this other turn, because I never explained to people what I was doing and why Herbie coined that phrase when we were in London in '84. And then all of this confusion because they didn't talk to us, And so Colors was the first project that I worked on as far as films. And I worked on several. And that one I'm proud of because I was still in Edenwald Projects in my room. I did not have SMPTE time code. I didn't have a Blackburn on the bottom of the screen. I'm just looking. And the first copy didn't have it. But then the next one had the Blackburn, the numbers that go across. Mm-hmm. I don't have SMPTE time code. I can't lock to film. I can't do none of that. So I'm sitting there going like this and then hitting the machine until I can get it on time to make sure it's right. And I sent it back to LA and they loved it. And it's the scene where the guy goes, "Rock is gonna pop it, no one's gonna stop it. Look what I got." You know what I'm saying? That's my music in there. And I worked on Sugar Hill, Wesley Snipes and Michael Wright.
Okay. I'm starting to lose my voice now. Oh.
It want some water? Here, I'll take some for you.
There
you go, bro.
Thanks.
You good. So yeah, man. That was the first, and I'll go to the last. The last was the Defiant Ones. And I did that. Another Edenwald, brother from Edenwald, Jimmy Love, part of Uptown. He was worked with Andre Harrell for years.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from Edenwald. He moved to Boston Seacor.
Okay.
Yeah, Jimmy Love. And so he contacts me, AD, what's up, man? I got this thing going on. I'm working with Alan Hughes, and they need one score for this particular section of the film, The Defiant Ones for HBO. And how much time I got? What time is it? 10 o'clock. What time you got to deliver it? This is metaphorically. It got to be there by 12. What time is it? 11:30. And I said, bet, I'll take it. You know, my whole thing is, you know, when you get on that level, you don't go near that door unless you got a stun grenade.
Yeah.
Don't go near that door. If you can't throw a stun grenade in the room when the door cracks, stay away from that door. And so it came to me. I said, well, who is it? Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, Alan Hughes directing. And I said, okay, bring me the daily. Let me look at it. He brought me the film. Alan Hughes called me and I said, okay. He said, well, in this section right here, I kind of hear Michael Jackson, all the children in the world today. Can you feel it? So I was saying, okay. So I called him back a few hours later. I had locked that section and I said, listen to this. I moved it so it happens right when the boy throws his hands up. And he said, oh man, I got chills. I gotta go. And I realized, okay, he's crazy like me. And so, then Jimmy came over, we sat down, we discussed it again. And I said, okay, let me sit here for about a week because I had about 2 weeks to hand it in. That whole segment, I had to have the whole thing done. And wow. I said, okay, I sat there for about 7 days and I was in excruciating pain. I had tore something in my shoulder and I was just dealing with the pain. And finally it started to click of what to do. And I decided to there's a section where he's pop locking, he's talking about his life and he shows video of him doing that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to score that. I'm going to create a song from that time period to go with that because he's dancing through the interview. But I'm going to make that, the wiki character in those records. I'm going to make him a character in the film on the record. And it's going to freak everybody out. And so, plus I was scratching. There was another brother. I can't remember his name right now. But he did the original scratches. And so I said, I'm going to take those and I'm going to redo them with this voice and with Dre's voice. So I took Dre's voice and I scratched it in based on the scratches that were there. So it looked like Dre is scratching his voice, in the sections. And so I sent it in. It blew everybody away, blew them all away. They were like, whoa, like who, how, what, hey, pow. Alan Hughes he sent me an email with like 7 words. That's the last email I ever received from him, by the way. He said, wow, man, you killed it. Love, love, love. That's it. I never heard from him again.
Wow.
But that's Hollywood. That's the way it works. It's funny as hell, but that's what it is. So recently they contacted me, Jimmy, in regards to the Tupac thing that they're doing. And there's something else, Tupac and something I can't remember at this moment. But so I'm still waiting to see what happens with that. But it was a great job. Subsequently, it won the Grammy for Best Music, and I was one of the contributors. So when I got the text from Alan Hughes, they text me and like, "Yo, congratulations!" And Jimmy, and then all of the producers and what have you, and Rhonda and all of us, you know. So that was another one for Edenwald. This time it was two people from Edenwald, Jimmy Love and DXT, and
Nah,
that one was on. That was the Edenwald Grammy.
the BX. We got
Yeah,
a
we represent, bro.
we got a question from P Nice Paul. He's saying how did it feel playing the Grammys?
It was. I had the butterflies. I tell you that. And, you know, and I spent my whole life on stage, and so I knew this was something different and very special. Philip Bailey, I had met him outside, and he's one of my greatest heroes. And they were all congratulating us, and it was not real to me at that moment, because these are the people why I do what I do. So, you know, I grew up listening to Earth, Wind and Fire. When I would travel, like my aunt Audrey, they were doing the chicken circuits down in the South. I went with them, and they would sing Earth, Wind and Fire songs in the car. They were singing them in the car, and my cousin Tony Rex, we would play Earth, Wind and Fire, and we would sit there and sing all their songs. And then I'm standing there with Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, and we won, you know. Yeah, it's powerful. And stand there, and you go out to the podium, and you look, and Michael Jackson is sitting there, Quincy Jones, James Brown, you know, all of these great artists who shaped your mental on musicianship and being an artist. And coming from where we come from, where it's not likely that you can get there, you know. It's just slim chance that you would be standing there looking at these incredible, talented people applauding you, giving you a standing ovation. And Michael Jackson, and when we was in the back, he came up to us and he said, "Man, you had me fooled, man. I thought those were robots for real, man. That was incredible. You had us fooled." And then I realized he was tall. I was like, "Whoa!" I didn't realize he was tall. He was much shorter than too. I didn't sprout yet. So, and it was just the most incredible experience to be part of that, and experience it once is enough, you know, to see that, and to meet these very talented people who inspired me, you know, along with my mother. My mother is a singer, and she would go to her vocal training and take me with her. And it started out being very bored, and then I just started doing some of her exercises just while she's doing it, just while I'm playing with my toys and stuff. And you know, but yeah, the Grammys was when we went out on stage, like backstage, I had the butterflies, man. I was like, man, this one, everybody was like, yeah, we all got it. Everybody got it. This is the Grammys. And normally I'm the first one to run out there, man. No problem, man. I was sitting there going, man, I said it. I said, dude, do y'all know I got butterflies right now? My stomach is upset, man. They were like, "Yo, me too." Everybody was going, "Me too, man." Like, "Yo, dude, this is just different. This is a whole nother thing, man." So I'm wondering if that happens to every artist who does the Grammys for the first time. Because let me tell you, I had the real butterflies. They were really there. It'll never happen again. Once you do it, it's done.
Yeah,
you know, I love the stage. So my whole life is stage. You know, the only reason why I stayed in PS 111 because they had a stage. I would have dropped out of PS 111. I actually did. You know, it's when I saw that stage, you know, I was like, yeah, stage.
I got to go back.
I'm talking PS 111. That's where I was. At that point, I was already there, you know. But yeah, that was a great experience. A great experience.
So I got two more things. Explain the turntablism or turntablism.
Okay, so in 1984, we did the Hammond Smith Odeon in London, England. 1984. There's a video of that concert, Herbie Hancock live in London, England, at the Hammond Smith Odeon. And we had just been told two things. One, Michael Jackson caught on fire during a Pepsi commercial and burnt up.
Mm.
Two, you guys just got nominated for a Grammy. And after the concert, we did the concert, and some people actually thought I was Herbie Hancock because he put me center stage. So it was really weird.
There's Herbie.
Yeah, people go, Herbie. And I'm like, no, it's him. It's weird. Like, what concert was you watching? You know? And so these guys came up and they said, well, what do you call him? You call him a DJ? Like, how do you refer to him? Like, because he's not really DJing. So, and he said, well, I'm a pianist. I have a bassist, and he's a turntablist. And I hated it. I was like, I'm a DJ, man. He said, you're a turntablist. He's a turntablist. He's playing the turntable. He's a virtuoso. And I didn't like it at all. So I didn't repeat it. And a guy named John Coluccio, backstage at another place right after that, shortly after that, or maybe a year or so after that, maybe a little bit longer, I think. But he approached me and he said, and I said, man, I said to him, you know, Herbie called me that, and I didn't like it. I don't like the term. I don't like the term. But he explained it. And then it began to stick. And so I had no choice but to accept it because I was being a purist of the DJ world. And once I got to the idea of what is purist, what does that mean? How do you know that somebody's not going to come in? You know, Miles is going to play this way today, and then he plays another way that is not what a purist would expect of him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so what Herbie explains is it's being part of a musical ensemble. You're playing with musicians. When you're DJing, you're DJing. When you're a turntablist, you're playing with musicians. You're playing as part of an ensemble, musical ensemble, and you have the ability to work it out as a musician. So you can improvise. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You can play whatever songs, whatever music, and it's not just this one thing. It's whatever you choose how you choose to approach that particular tune. You know, it's not just this one sound. My bow was the fresh sound because that was my thing. It became everybody's thing. And so I could not explain to people, go out and experiment, because I didn't get interviews, you know? And so I didn't get the opportunity to say, hey, that's just the sound that I got. You got to find other sounds. That's the sound. We made that record. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so those were my sounds. And so, but those became everybody's sounds. And my only issue now is, you know, the idea that the title or the term turntablist is being used in the DJ world as people just being DJs and just scratch DJs call themselves turntablists. But if you put them in a band environment, they would be completely lost. You become a turntablist when you're able to do that as well. Not just that, not just DJing at parties. Right. The turntablist is when you're able to play as a virtuoso musician with a turntable, like a pianist or a violinist or a flautist or a bassist or a turntablist. And you have to be in that zone. You have to be amongst those musicians and play with them. And that's what defines being a turntablist. When you're just having a mixer and two turntables and you scratching, you're a DJ scratching. DJ. Yeah, or scratch DJ. If you want to add that to the names, you're a DJ. But the turntablist is the person performing as part of a musical ensemble. That's what Herbie's, when he coined the definition. And because no one was around and no one knew what I was doing yet, until the Grammy Awards. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It took years before the term was rehashed or re-expressed through the guys on the West Coast, Babu and DJ Disc were arguing which one of them, but they had no idea that Herbie had already said it before we did the Grammys. He had already coined that phrase. And he explained what it was. And so for all of those DJs who call themselves turntablists, if you're not playing as part of a musical ensemble, then you're a DJ. If you're just DJing, you're DJing. It's simple. If you're just DJing and you're scratching them up, yeah. Not saying this, you're not good, you're not bad, but the turntablist applies to musicianship.
Wow. Thank you.
I hope that answered the question. I'm sure it pissed off a lot of people.
A lot of people.
What you mean I ain't no turn? Yes, I am.
A lot of people didn't know. Man, I'm losing my voice. I got one more question and then we out of here. Talk to me.
Hold on, man. Let me give you a little bit more water. Yeah.
I got one more question for you.
Go ahead, bro.
I've done this 30 days now. We're at 30 days. I actually interviewed about 26 DJs. Probably some you knew, probably some you didn't know. What DJs haven't I interviewed that should be interviewed because they have stories?
DJ Smoke. Jazzy J. Mark and Jay Collins, the legendary Collins brothers. Imperial JC. Grand Wizard Theodore. Did you interview Flash?
No.
DJ Clark Kent.
Nope, not yet. I'm hoping to get everybody. I don't have any connections to them, so
Terrible T from Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
The original Jazzy J. Did I say that already?
Yes, you said Jazzy J.
Okay, because I know I said J from the Collins brothers. Mark and Jazzy J. That's the other Jazzy J. Okay. DJ Cam.
I had him on.
Well, have him on again.
He was number 17, and he's gonna be a part 2.
Red Alert.
Yeah, he's got
Chill Out
stories. Yep. Chuck Chill Out is from around the way. I didn't know. I used to see him in Murray's all the time.
DJ Steele. That was his name. DJ Steele. He said he saw me at a house party near Eden Wall. I think it was either 76, 77. I don't know. But he says it was that far back. He told me that. He was DJ Steele. There's the other DJs. Did you interview Herc?
No, I don't have no connections, so I don't know how to reach most of them that you said. I mean, I met Jay last year when we were up in Jersey with you.
Did you interview Charlie Chase? Yeah, I interviewed Charlie Chase. Man.
Not yet. As soon as I get some connections to them.
Yeah. Terrible T, Charlie Chase, Jazzy J, Collins Brothers,
Yeah.
Imperial JC. You got to get these people in there, man. They can tell their stories.
I know. I know they have many stories because we 3.5 hours with you, and you can fill up another 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I can keep going though. There's a lot more. I pay my electric bill, so let's go. Let's keep it going. P Nice, where you at? You should interview P Nice.
I know. I'm gonna get
P Nice on there. P Nice. He's supposedly he's joining Team Hip Hop. So we're gonna see. I'm putting you on the spot, P Nice. That's right. That's right. Now let me tell y'all something about P Nice so that the whole world knows. P Nice, myself, and his brother, rest in peace, Justice. And I think one of his other brothers, I think Darrell. I think it was one of the holidays, and we sitting outside, and we decided to let's do a barbecue, man. It was one of the holidays, Memorial Day or something, and everybody's sitting out there telling prison stories. So I'm like, yo, man, let's go get some grills and stuff like that. This is an Eden Wall Projects, and we got the grills going, and man, another brother, I can't remember his name, but it's a close friend of mine, her son. And he comes running around the corner. He runs in the building, and then all these gang members, Bloods, come running around, and they run him into the building. Hazzy, that was his name, Hazzy. And they chase him into the building. And so Justice comes out, bless his heart, and Justice has had he's allergic to the police too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever the police are around, Justice breaks out in handcuffs. And so he goes up to the dudes because they got all kind of bats and stuff, and he's like, "Yo, listen, man, we having a barbecue over here." And me and Just goes across the street in front of my mother's building. And we like, hey man, we doing a barbecue. Y'all welcome to come eat some food and chill, but we not banging today, man. Chill. And of course, the shit goes left. Next thing you know, bah, 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 bah. Hazzy comes out the building blazing. And he shoots the bench, shoots everything. He hit one guy in the shoulder. They run, so they coming back. So we standing and we like, Hazzy, man, why did you do that, man? Yo, man, I had to defend y'all, man. They was getting ready to get at y'all, man. I had to do something. Like, yo, dude, we were gonna get them plates of food, but yes, it was because Just was ready to get busy.
For real.
Yeah, because he said, dude, I just told you my name is Just, and the dude was like, what's your name again? And these dudes were crazy. He said, listen, Just, whatever your name is, look, if you don't get out of here, man. And he had this knife. It was Hannibal Lecter's knife. I don't know how he got it from Hannibal Lecter, but he had it, right? And I looked at that knife. I said, the only way to get that from this dude is to shoot him or hit him in the head with a bat, a 30-foot bat. So, and I don't want to talk about violence, but this is just the cream of the crop of the insanity.
That was a
coming back
day in Eden Wall.
That was Memorial Day in Eden Wall, where there was kids. We had bought balloons and all this stuff. The kids is out there. We got the music going. Here they come. Now they all got guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I was concerned because I know one of them, he was all toweled up and stuff. Like, yo, y'all all right, man? And he was, what you mean we all right? And I said, you know what? Let me go in the building, man. Let me get out of here. And they said, yo, he turned around. Hit him. And I turn around, man, and I see these guns pointed at me, man. And then P Nice, man, my brother, jumped in between them and said, yo, you don't want to do that. You want to do that, man. Listen to me. And he got close enough to him to knock the gun down and knock the mess out of the dude. And I ran into the building. I'm not even going to tell you what I did. I'm ashamed of it. But I was so upset because my flashbacks of my brother. So I ran upstairs and I went and got my stuff. you know. And I went chasing after them dudes, man. But we ended it by all of them saying they're going to do demos for me to listen to. It ended great because we took their weapons. We took their weapons and we walked them to, I got one guy, give me a gun. I took the bullets out. I threw the clip, threw the bullets, and gave him back the gun. And then we said, matter of fact, come sit on the bench. And we made all of them sit on the bench, man. And we started preaching to them dudes. Real talk, man. If P Nice is on there, ask him. This is real talk. He saved my life that night.
He said it was Father's Day.
Oh, okay, it's Father's Day. So he saved me, and I am forever and grateful in gratitude. You know, just it was the sickest shit, man. Really. Yeah. And when we sat them down, they were like, "Yo, man, ain't you DST, man? Ain't you a producer, man?" They turned into that.
Yeah.
It was the sickest shit I ever seen, man. They were like, "Yo, man, I'll kill you, man." And then when they saw that dude, we came at them with we matched the force.
Mm.
And like, dude, we all had guns too. They were like, "Yo, man, but ain't you DST, man? What's with all that gun?"
Stop the violence.
Stop the violence. Don't just. But no, they were young kids, man. And so we sat them down on the bench, man, and we talked to them, man. And they ended up going, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna do a demo. Want you to hear my demo?" And man, I went upstairs. I sat there and I cried, man. I cried like a baby. Blew me away. I was twisted. That twisted me out, man. I was like, "Yo, man." I sat there and just cried, man. I was like, "Yo, I can't believe that shit just happened." I almost lost my life 100 feet from where my brother lost his life. And this brother, and yo, just came busting out the building with a bulletproof vest on, with a big stomach, so it looked like he had on a tray. It looked like he had a food tray. I know P Nice is cracking up, man. And just went after them. Just had 2 guns. I'm like, "Yo, dude, what?" Yo, it was crazy. It was crazy, man.
He said he told you to stop telling that story.
and we stopped them, and we took their weapons, and we sat down with them and talked to them, man. Like, "Yo, dude, I'm a musician, bro, but I'm also a man, and you out of order." And so we did it based on that, not to prove we were tough or nothing. It was like, "Yo, dude, y'all out of order, man." And we all hugged up, you know, shook hands, hugged up and the whole shit, man, and said, "Okay, man, yo, go ahead, man." I went upstairs, man, and broke down. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it.
I know that.
I was like, "Man, this is ridiculous that just happened." P Nice comes and jumps in front of this guy's gun and then knocks the living crap out of the dude and takes his gun.
Wow.
So that y'all know, when y'all see P Nice, that brother is the real deal, because he did that right in front of me. I was the target. And he jumped in front of the gun and knocked the snot out of the dude and took his gun. P Nice. Come on, man. Clap it up. Clap it up for P Nice, man.
That's for you, Paul. That's for you.
He calling him Paul. I'm calling. You call him P Nice, man.
P Nice. DJ P Nice.
DJ P Nice. That was my DJ brother. Yeah, man. Now it's documented. Now it's documented, P Nice. The whole world sees that. Who's this guy, P Nice?
I'm going to put it on YouTube and let Tim
P Nice. He saved my life that night, man. Jumped in front of a guy about to shoot me for asking him, "Is he okay?"
Crazy.
Yep. The peer pressure, because they were going to hit him. The other dudes were saying that to him. He turned around, hit him, and he jumped in front. I'm like, "Oh, I'm in trouble now." P Nice. No, he's no man of steel. There's no S on his chest. Not faster than the speeding bullet. He's not powerful as a locomotive.
He is ghetto, though.
He had heart. He had heart. And he jumped in. He said, "Dude, that ain't happening. Now, give me your gun and run."
That exactly sounds like Be nice.
Yo, that's exactly what happened, man. And he was just calm. That's what bugged me out. Me and Just was screaming at the top of our lungs at them dudes. We were screaming at the top of our lungs at them, man. And Be Nice was like, yo, man, y'all need to just come over here and sit down. Let us talk to you. I was like, get over there. Ah! It was crazy. And all those brothers are doing well, except for Hazzy. Hazzy subsequently was murdered shortly after that. Not by them, though. Just unfortunately, he got caught up in the mess.
Gee.
And all of those dudes was at his funeral. Yep.
And they were chasing him at one time.
Yeah, they were chasing him to kill him at one time, and then they were all there paying their respects and everything. But yeah, man, that was something else, man. And unfortunate, like look what we're talking about again, you know. And it's just part of the normalcy of our lives, you know. And I'm 59 this year. You know what I'm saying? 59.
You got a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks.
I know, man.
No, I'm about to get off.
Hey, let me get some. Let me give you some more water. I'm trying to help you. Every time you do that, I drink for you.
We have got the record. The record for time was DJ Cam, and we went like an hour and 48 minutes. We blew him away by 2 hours.
It's all good. You want to keep going?
No, man. I'm going to rest my. I'm going to rest my voice. I'm going to get something to eat.
It's not like you go, Mookie. Where's Mookie?
Another day. Hopefully you'll come on another time in the future.
Hey man, anytime, man. You know, this whole situation is what enabled us to do it. So let's make the best of it.
Yeah, definitely. So I thank you much for spending time. And
yes, sir.
I told you before, we're gonna be the finale. We're gonna go the longest, and we almost 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Hey man,
and I'm losing it now. So
it's all good, man.
I'm gonna get out of here.
All right.
Much love to you, bro.
Hey man, thank you so much for having me on, and it's been a pleasure, man, to share this experience, personal, emotional.
Yeah,
and it's a good thing, man. And hopefully, do you ride bikes? Because we got to get you on a bike, man, for Team Hip Hop.
The Army made my knees bad.
Okay, so we'll allow you to get a scooter.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do the scooter. Oh man!
Hey, listen, man. Let me
get out of here before
switch for you, bro.
People keep watching. Bro, I appreciate it when the planet opens back up. Hopefully, I'll see you at the DJ Expo and other events as the planet opens back up. I will talk with you.
We got some things going. I'm not going to say them yet because they're not fully based on what's happening. I can't call it. But as soon as things open back up, I'm going to make some other announcements. That's going to be pretty deep. One is I can do that now. I'm transitioning into filmmaking, and I got a couple of short films I already wrote. And as soon as this opens up, we're going to go into production on 4 of them. And they are, again, dealing with the issues that we are facing. And the project is, I'm calling the project the Mirror Project.
Right.
I'm dealing with us, looking at us. You know,
Nice.
no, brother.
Congrats, bro.
2 fingers, bro. Why don't you just use sign language now, B? Please stop. Stop talking.
No more talking. Let me get on my phone.
Yeah. That's what did it. You had that goddamn nuclear power plant sitting right next to your neck. So that's basically caused you that problem, man. I threw that phone out years ago. Why do you still have that phone?
I still got mine.
You know that foam is still emanating radioactive materials, man?
No, I don't. It ain't been on in years.
Dude, it's atomic. It's it doesn't. I wouldn't put that to my head, man. Stop that. Yeah, hey man, get off of here, man. You losing it, man. You losing it. Time to
Bro,
go. Hey, yo, everybody, thank you. This was great. I had a great time, brother Harry. Two fingers, man.
thank you.
We'll catch up, man.
All right, later.
Two fingers.
Well, we finished 30 interviews. Let me get my voice correct. 30 interviews straight. This has been DJ month, National DJ Month. I want to thank everybody and stay tuned for tomorrow when I come on and take you behind the scenes of all 30 days. All right. Harry the Big Dog, DJ Interview. I'm out.